second place for the World Cup. Runner-up to Maciej Rudzik of Poland, who won the 3 events that Livraisen didn't show. He's up against Nita of Japan, who are extraordinarily strong at sprinting. They carry a lot of skill set over from, of course, the Kirin. And likewise, they've got Tomohiro Fukaya, who finds himself, he finished 5th in the World Cup, but didn't contest all of them. He'll go for the last pairing against Malaysia's Awang. This is the quarter-final stage. Don't look for any Brits. Unfortunately, Jason Kelly did not make it through. More on that in a moment, but let's deal with Livraisen and Nita. The Japanese and the Netherlands and Germany seem to be having some fun at the moment, the Danes likewise. We've kind of got our hierarchy of teams that are functioning very well. Livraisen versus Nita. Livraisen should be the favourite here.
Yeah, so Livraisen, the defending champion, and Livraisen already a double world champion this week, so winning the team sprint with 2 new world records on Wednesday, then winning the Kirin on Thursday as well. So 2 rainbow jerseys to his name already this week, and he'll want to make it a hat-trick. So big opportunity for him today. The Dutch team are just in incredible form. A win yesterday for Sam Lickley in the kilo as well for the men's Dutch sprint squad. So they're just on stellar form the whole way.
Hit the bell. Final lap then for this best of 3. This is their first race in their quarter-final. And Livraisen's just powering away, and I don't think Nita's going to get back in. Very different gearing. You can see his cadence is entirely different. But the power is there with Livraisen, and he's made a big marker here. I'm not sure Nita can find a way back from that. However, he is a very, very capable rider. We'll see if he can level it up in their second race. The Netherlands have 3 berths here in the quarterfinals, so ultimately, if they all go through, we're going to have at least 1 Netherlands pairing. We'll have Jeffrey Hooland up next against Stefan Bottiger of Germany. So there'll be that usual frisson between the Germans and the Dutch. It's interesting, occasionally you see a sign saying, "Give us our bikes back." Do you know about that?
No, go on, tell me.
Well, apparently, when the Netherlands were occupied during the Second World War, they had all their bicycles confiscated because they didn't want them running around marauding, being partisans. And apparently they weren't returned at the end of the war. It's a great sense of injustice that the Netherlands have had, because they love their bikes, of course. But anyway, it's just a bit of a tease, but occasionally you see that sign. There was 1 or 2 in the auditorium a little bit earlier on. Harry Livraisen then has opened the account for the Dutch against Japan. Juraj Nita losing out. Jeffrey Hooland is out next. Now, this will be an interesting one, actually, because although he has the power, does he have the nous? Well, I think probably does. Matti Buckley will be out, but he's up against Maciej Rudzik of Poland, who's a very good competitor. That's more difficult to pick. Stefan Bottiger, the way that Germany has been running at these World Championships, you kind of feel that they've got momentum behind them. They've certainly got the crowd here, and as you can see, it's a bit of a sellout. It's not a bit of a sellout. There isn't a bit of a sellout. There is a sellout. That's what it is. Weekend racing here, and Stefan Bottiger, yeah, he thinks he's going to win. Who's going to win? Me, 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 me. That's what the pointing is. However, Jeffrey Hooland is the man that nobody wants to face.
Yeah, exactly. Jeffrey Hooland, silver medalist at last year's World Championships, second fastest qualifier with a 9.3 this morning for the Fly 200. Stefan Bottiger, a bit further down in 10th place with a 9.5, but overall some really fast but really tightly packed qualifying times this morning. I'd say on paper, Hooland is the favourite here. You know, like I said, silver medalist from last year's World Championships, had a really strong World Cup season. But like you said, Stefan Bottiger, with the home crowd support, that can really change things. That can be a game changer in any sport. And in track cycling, when they really get behind you, it's like a wall of noise going around the velodrome. So definitely do not discount the German rider.
Can be something of a disadvantage in, for example, scratch racing, because as soon as you start to make a move, the crowd go nuts, and everyone knows that the Germans are, well, the home rider is on the way. Yeah,
you lose the element of surprise, which isn't always ideal. You know, we've often said before that a home rider so much as gets out the saddle and the crowd go mad. So you need to sort of take the rough with the smooth, I suppose. You get the little not so good points like that, but overall, it's definitely a benefit.
Well, both powerful riders. I would say that Stefan Bottiger is probably the most dynamic, let's put it that way. I think Huland is really the power man, and you can see this right now, this game of cat and mouse, and Huland's trying to hold Bottiger up the banking, and he comes down himself and starts to pour the power on. He's gone. Now then, can he close the gap? Bottiger's on the chase right now. He's going to get up alongside. The question is whether Huland can hold him at bay, and I think the answer is yes, and it is. Huland kind of draws a straight line for himself because he's got the power to deliver. Bottiger trying to draw him into a game of cat and mouse that he wasn't playing. Holds all the cards at the moment, Jeffrey Huland, and he has taken the advantage in the first of this best of three. That was as tidy as you like, wasn't it? Went to form.
Yeah, I don't think Hoogland was really under pressure there. Seriously, I think coming down the home stretch as he went over the line, he did just sort of ease up a little bit. I think it was 9.8 for the final 200 metres there. You know, this is a guy that we know is capable of 9.3 from this morning. So I don't think ever under a real serious amount of pressure here. But of course, this is best of three. So all still to play for the German rider. He can come back out in probably a matter of minutes' time and have another go.
Next up, we will have Mathis Rujic, who won the World Cup ahead of Harry Livraisen and Jeffrey Huland. However, Livraisen and Huland, whenever they showed up, Livraisen won it and Huland was second, with Rujic in third place, or indeed just off the podium. So yeah, he was very effective. I think Rujic may have an option on Buckley here. Buckley himself it's not his favoured discipline. Well, it has been in the past, but he's not been on the best of form, has he?
Yeah, well, defending champion for the Keirin, unfortunately didn't make it to the 1-6 final in the Keirin, then crashed out of the 7-12 final, so not a great day in that sense. However, if we say he's not on great form, he has won the world title in the team sprint on the first day, so he was part of the team for the Dutch squad, rode the qualifier, which obviously set them up nicely for the remaining finals, so already a rainbow jersey to his name. Out of these two riders on paper, Rujic was the faster qualifier. He qualified in third fastest this morning with a 9.4, and then Buckley qualified down in 11th, but with a 9.5, so you know, we're talking a tenth of a second difference between these two riders. So on paper, although Rujic is the faster one, it's not a huge difference. In terms of last year's championships, Rujic was the bronze medalist, so definitely one to look out for. And like you said, he was also the World Cup winner this season, which is probably mainly out of consistency. He attended all 6 rounds, but winning 3 of them, you know, that's, you know, there's a lot of experience there, a lot of racing in his legs.
Well, he won 3 that the Netherlands didn't show to, so he's got a problem, because the Netherlands are here. Yeah. Even Matty Buckley on diminished form, you never quite know really. Sometimes everyone has dips of form, and you never know what illness may well have shown itself in the run to this, but just slightly off the peak that we're used to seeing him at. Rujic's got to believe he's got a chance here, especially with the form that Matty Buckley has been displaying, so it might be more even than perhaps we would have thought.
Yeah, and also for Buckley, having missed out on the Keirin, which he was a defending champion for just a couple of days ago, there's a sort of different sort of motivation there which should come out of that. Some riders might be so disappointed, they might sort of, the head might dip and they might struggle to come back and really fight. On the other hand, you can come back really, really wanting to prove a point.
Well, that'll be a problem for Rujic if that's the case for Buckley. It looks like he may well just want to step on him. Let's wait and see. At the moment, good defence. Sends Buckley up to the top, does Rujic, the pole in the red and white, and he's powering away here. Now, this is a gap that could well be used by Buckley. Rush room aplenty. Not quite close enough, I don't think. And there we are. Well, it's as we suspected. Rujic holds Buckley at bay, and he will be delighted about that. Looked extraordinarily determined. I hasten to, or I'm reluctant, I should say, to criticise Matty Buckley, but it just looked like something was missing, and maybe that's just belief.
Yeah, cycling is a sport in general, but I think particularly match sprinting is such a psychological game. You know, I used to say in my career, it's 50% your legs, 50% your head. And in an event like this, where it's one rider versus another rider, and you're thinking about tactics and all these other variables that you can't control, a lot of it is down to belief and, you know, executing your plan and not thinking about the other person too much, which is a lot easier said than done. So psychologically it's extremely tough, and here we've seen Rudzik with a clear win there, clearly come out on top. Tiny bit of celebration from the coach there, but like we said, this is best of 3, so Buckley needs to go away, look back at the video from that race and have a serious think, what can he do differently next time to try and take it to a decider.
This is going to be interesting because we have Tomohiro Fukaya of Japan, and we have Mod Awang of Malaysia, everyone's favourite trackie from the Far East. And here he is. Just turn the card. Anyway, I'll stop hanging on about that. Japan versus Malaysia, and 2 extraordinarily capable riders who've already tasted some success.
Yeah, so Awang already taking a bronze medal at this World Championships in the men's keirin, day before yesterday, and like we said, really popular rider. Fukaya, obviously a home Olympic Games coming up for him in a matter of months' time, so really exciting time for him. 5th in the World Cup overall this winter, not taking a win, but taking a 2nd place in event 4 to Rudzik, who won that round. So very tightly matched competitors here.
If I had to pick one, I'd probably say Awang, and that's both head and heart. He's a rider that just about everyone's followed ever since he got his calf speared by an enormous splinter. It wasn't really a splinter, was it? It looked like a stick. Went straight through his, I think it was his left calf, on crashing, which is a strange one because you generally tend to come down on your right. But anyway, yeah, he had surgery. Everyone thought it was such a painful looking injury, we thought it was over, but no, he came back and he became world champion. Great in the keirin, but not bad either in match sprinting. We're going to see how he goes right now. Little jink up towards the rail, and I think Fukaya looks nervous here. Awang certainly looks the most settled in the black of Malaysia. And they come down off, they're almost on tow rope, isn't he? Locked together they come. It'll be the bell this time by, and this is where Awang needs to start imposing himself. But it's Fukaya that gets the steal. He's keeping it nice and smooth at the moment. Here comes Awang round the outside. Hugely popular rider, and it looks like he's got the slingshot and will make this deliver from the outside for the first time. Habit of lifting the wheel in celebration, and does so. He is a showman. And he'll go right around the top of this velodrome to take the applause. Nicely done from the outside.
It was nicely done. So he ducked and dived throughout those 3 laps. Kept just behind Fukaya. He kept looking around trying to see him, and he kept being on the wrong side. So nicely played by Awang there. Huge drive down that back straight, and nicely came round to take the win there.
One that chased Matthew Vanderpool.
Balsamo for Italy. Australia, as you can see, also very much here with Amy Cure and Annette Edmondson. The Netherlands, though, really do draw the eye. Great Britain, now, no Katie Archibald, it's a surprise to us. Eleanor Barker and Nia Evans are the pairing. Still a substantial threat. But where's Katie?
Yeah, interesting question. So absolutely no disrespect to Eleanor Barker and Nia Evans who've been selected here, but yeah, I think a lot of viewers have probably come accustomed to seeing Katie Archibald as part of the Madison team for Great Britain. You know, she's had a lot of wins across World Cups, European Championships, and of course former world champion alongside Emily Nelson, but appears not to have been selected here today. So looking forward very much to seeing what Eleanor Barker and Nia Evans can do. I think they're still a really, really strong pairing. And it is a testament to the strength and depth in Great Britain that it does really hot up that selection battle ahead of the Tokyo Olympics.
Kirsten Wild paired with Amy Peters for today. Here is Kirsten up at the rail, just tucked in. Well, Kirsten Wild will have to face off, Wild and Peters will have to face off against Eleanor Barker and Nia Evans. It's still a substantial, punchy partnership. Would we have expected Katie Archibald as well to contest the Omnium?
Oh, debatable. So previous world champion Katie in the Omnium. Back in 2017 World Champs. Ahead of Olympic Games and Olympic year, I would assume Laura got selected given she would be the rider who would be looking to ride in Tokyo. And she did give an interview yesterday saying that, you know, for her it's a lot of it is about experience. And I think the way GB work, they are always thinking about the Olympic Games and not necessarily the bike race that's in front of you now, which can be a strange situation to be in as a rider because, you know, you want to win every time you get on the bike, but they do need to sort of think about the bigger picture. At the end of the day, their funding is based on Olympic medals, not on World Championship medals.
Some very strong pairings here. Germany, naturally enough, their home race, have Francesca Brauser and Lisa Klein. There are the Americans. This is Jennifer Valenti. She is paired with Megan Justrav, as we just hove in on Poland. Also amongst the very, very strong teams who are here. France draw the eye likewise with Caponi and Lynette. That's a youngster and slightly more experienced. Still both very young actually, I think. 21 and 20, so only just more experience. Paternoster and Balsamo is a strong pairing from Italy. Trying to come with Wang and Liu. You know, it's a fantastic chocolate box selection here. I just don't know which ones to pick.
I think worth noting the German pairing that you've just mentioned, Lisa Klein and Francesca Brauser, actually qualified third and fourth in the women's individual pursuit this morning. So they've also got a race for that medal later on. They've qualified in times of 3:20 and 3:21, which are insanely fast times. They're clearly in very, very good form, but an extra ride in their legs today already.
12 sprints along the way with 120 laps. It's 30 kilometres. So sprintage is going to be rather important. Should we talk about lappage as well?
Yes, so if you gain a lap on the field, you gain 20 points. Previous rules in the Madison indicated that if you gained a lap, you were a lap up, so similar to a scratch race, but now it's similar to a points race with a lap gain being worth 20 points. So like you say, 12 sprints throughout the race, points available on the line for the first 4 teams over the line, 5, 3, 2 and 1. And then on the final sprint there is double points with 10 points to the winner, 6, 4 and 2. So it can all change in that last sprint.
Australia here with Amy Cure and Annette Edmondson, and again a phenomenal pairing. I think Italy will go very, very strongly actually, but Denmark are my pick today. There you are, I've done it now. Amelie Didriksen and Julie Leff. I think they've got a fantastic buzz about the entire Danish team. But first moves look like they're going to come, not from Great Britain, I don't think. That looked like a gentle move, but from Italy, who shot straight through centre pack and didn't want to lose out. Look back at Leff at the moment, about to hand over to, I beg your pardon, it is Didriksen. I always, some of those wide angle shots sometimes, she has a very, very familiar face with that sort of square jawline. Seemed to be ironed out there. But yes, it was Didriksen. Oh, meanwhile, a little bit of elbows, and you might well get some of this. Kirsten Wild's going to have to take care. She's rock solid, isn't it, she? If you bump into Kirsten Wild, she ain't going to move. You will bounce off.
Yeah, exactly. So she's one of the bigger riders in the bunch. Very, very, very experienced, and like you say, solid on the bike. So, you know, can be imposing in one sense, but also a really, you know, really good wheel to be following. Blue line, and it's France in that's a dark navy blue that's come up and over the top. Belgians staying attentive. They've got Jolien D'Or and Lotte Kopecky. They're also just tucking in. The Australians don't want to miss out on any move, and it looks lively. There's the first intermediate sprint coming up right now. Well, you'll hear the bell, don't worry too much about it, but it'll be at 110 laps to go. So 12 sprints in total, 120 laps, and indeed for the time being reasonably cagey. Some slack exchanges going on. We've got a couple out the back, and indeed Leth it is that picks it up and just comes along the blue line as the camera hooks back here on board with the Polish riders. But it's starting to get busy up front because of this. Bell has rung, and there is a sprint to be had. And indeed, if you power through this sprint, you may well actually just be able to power on just a little bit and maybe cause a little bit of a break. Here's Kirsten Wild, determined to impose herself. Australia wants to be in the frame as well. France and Italy likewise. Well, first blood to the Netherlands, and they're still pacing on. France look lively, so do Australia. Indeed, almost immediately, Great Britain just closed down that gap, and yeah, don't want anything silly to happen, and settle themselves down, back and rolling. This is great. Yes, Netherlands, of course, are defending champions in this event. Kirsten Wild and Amy Pieters. Kirsten Wild, unfortunately, not defending her Omnium title yesterday, having been relegated in the first event of 4. So I think we'll be out with a point to prove. You know, she wants this title back. You know, she won the scratches on the first day, didn't win the Omnium yesterday, but for the Madison Olympic event in an Olympic year, this means a lot to this pairing.
Here we go, almost high, wide and handsome on the blue line. Watch the blue line, it really is the line of activity. If you want to launch an attack, oh, here we go. So the first warnings coming up here. There we are. The Ukraine, Solovey and Nihara. Well, if you do get lapped here, you will be called out as well. If you go a couple of laps down, by the way, I should say, if you're deemed to be a nuisance. But I think it was the exchanges that they've been penalised for, basically, just doing slack exchanges and hampering other riders.
Yeah, so when you're changing in a Madison, you need, obviously, everyone wants it to be a safe race, so as a rider you need to be quite vigilant, looking out for your partner who's resting above the blue line. You also need to make sure that you're going over changes rather than under changes, because when the rider that's slinging in the other rider to start racing, you really do sort of transfer all your momentum over, so that the rider that's about to start resting will sort of almost come to, not a standstill, but they'll lose so much speed that, you know, that could be quite dangerous if you try and nip under a change.
4-6 now off the front, and it's much of the quality of the field that have gone. Great Britain now just making sure that that gap is actually closed. You can see the resting riders here and those who are active. There we are, sprint 1, just confirmation of it. 5, 3, 2 and 1 points. I don't know why they don't just put the points up at the beginning, because it still says 1, 2, 3 and 4 down the left hand side, but hey, that's just me. Good to see that Great Britain aren't going to allow anything to fly away at the moment. They're keeping up beautifully. Nice little exchange as well. Bell goes. And so, time to dig deep. And that's precisely what we're seeing right now. And it's Anna Edmondson who's got the drive, being chased down brilliantly here by Nia Evans. Is she going to get up and over the top of it? She will. Great. Britain take 5 points. 3 to Australia, 2 to the Netherlands and 1 for France. This is starting to look like a nice assembly, even though it's very early.
Yeah, that was an incredible turn of speed there by Nia Evans for the Great Britain team. They timed their change nicely. They put her in for that sprint lap, and yeah, what a turn of pace. And nicely came round the Australian pairing there. So that is first points on the board there for Great Britain. Now on 5 points, they're sitting in 3rd place overall.
There you are, just the impetus taken off the corner. Gosh, it was only just, wasn't it? Strange really that the Belgians have been so quiet in this track championships. I know their attention is elsewhere at the moment. Look at this for a flyer from America. I told you about the blue line. They've come up and over the top, and they've got the hop on absolutely everybody. That's nice. Already, what, 5-6 bike lengths and extending. Not involved in that last sprint, and there doesn't seem a huge will at the moment to take the duty on to chase them down. Valenti just making an exchange, as you can see. In fact, as we roll through, America now just ease off ever so slightly. It's good to see that we're going to do this testing and probing of the rest of the field, just to make sure that that everyone is being attentive. It's just Strab that's out front at the moment for the United States, with her partner Valenti just about to drop down, indeed take the exchange. Australia try and settle a few nerves as well. It's very cagey.
Yeah, cagey at the moment. That we did see that move there from America, but never really getting much space up the track. I'm seeing the Dutch pairing coming over the top now. We're just focusing there on the British rider Nia Evans, but I'm looking at the Dutch pairing, and they're going to get themselves in position for this next sprint.
Well, likewise Italy, Letizia Paternoster, indeed paired up as well. Paternoster with the black number 5 of Italy, just about to exchange right now. Oh, nasty. Well, 2 down, but getting a wheel with the weight of another rider straight into your face is not nice. Poland have taken a big hit there, and you start to worry about concussion. We won't be seeing those pictures until we know that everyone's okay, for obvious reasons, but right now let's deal with the sprint. Kirsten Wild there coming up over the top, surely wants to just impose herself on Eleanor Barker, and does so. Ireland also getting in the frame here for some points, and the Russian Federation moving up the last point as well. That was a nasty crash.
Yeah, that was too. We'll wait till we see the replay of that, of exactly what happened. I think I saw at least 3 riders come down though. That sprint just there, taken convincingly there by Kirsten Fields for Netherlands, sprinting past Eleanor Barker, and
because they cannot move the riders. So they will circulate. They may even come to a halt, but while it's yellow, will circulate. Hasn't been red flagged yet, but you can't have all this attention to riders going on, all bunched together. They're being told to do so. While they just clear the track, make sure that medically everyone's where they need to be. Looks like they're checking the bike for Poland, and that means that hopefully she's going to get back on the bike. It's Daria Pikulik who took the hit, and she's holding on to her teeth here. Now, we will see it because she's okay. Now, watch this. Little crossover, again the Netherlands. Now, this is the dangerous moment.
China nowhere to go. Oh, straight into then Ukraine as well coming down.
You heard the oohs and the ahs of the crowd, who are allowed to see the replay because she's okay. But nonetheless, that is going to hurt, and she's very lucky. Cheekbones can be fractured. Sometimes you just don't know. I'm not wishing the worst on anybody, of course, but thankfully, back on the bike, there's the Chinese athlete that had absolutely nowhere to go. It's Xiao Wang, and how brave is that to see? Pikulik is back on the bike, and she's going to have a swollen cheek for sure at best, and we wish her the best. Yeah,
Pikulik, of course, taken the bronze medal in the Omnium yesterday, but she was absolutely delighted with. So I'm glad to see her back racing, and she must be sort of still feeling happy about that medal yesterday, because I think that was her first World Championship medal.
Well, let's hope her mind can clear as well. I do worry about concussion. I'm sure they checked her for that. But you can see the cheek already swelling. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, exactly. So swelling up quickly there. But I think adrenaline can get you through the race. It will be more painful the next day. Are we going to see it? This is a quick replay of this sprint.
Yeah, Kirsten Wild's coming up and around the outside. Good to see Italy, Ireland also here with Lydia Boylan and Lydia Gurley, who've been a great pairing actually through the World Cups. There's the moment, and you're going to see it again, I'm afraid. Oof, dearie me. And again, not overly necessary, is it? But anyway, it's all part of the drama, I guess, but it's not pleasant viewing, so apologies for that. We are supplying you with the pictures that we've provided from Germany by our hosts here. Personally, I'm don't think we need so many replays of something that's so painful. She is okay though, and she's back out and riding, thank goodness. Lots of screams here as we have 85 laps to go. We are back active again. Gun's gone off, so we're riding good and proper. The Netherlands 5 points in the last sprint. Great Britain with 3, getting a good assembly.
Yep, so the Dutch team scoring in all 3 sprints so far, winning 2 in a second place as well. British scoring in 2 of the sprints. So nicely getting the points on the board. We're only 3 sprints in of 12. We haven't seen any real major attacks yet, but I have a feeling that this race is going to go down the route of sprints rather than lap games.
It kind of feels that way, doesn't it? I think the Netherlands are happy to keep the pace as high as they are. They're doing a lot of dictation of the pace out front to make sure that nobody goes off and tries to take a lap. And in so doing, they're also ensuring, with their strength in depth, that the sprints, they're contesting those as well. It's good strategy from the Netherlands, but you've got to have a lot of confidence and indeed ability to pull that one off, haven't you?
Yeah, so they know that their strength is their sprinting. We're just seeing an attack here from Italy, and that's Letizia Paternoster going off the front there. They want to get a little bit of daylight before this next sprint. Yeah, they do, and hopefully push on as well. If anyone's going to steal a lap, it may well be the Italians. Let us see. I think the Danes in partnership with them could actually impose themselves, but right now here's the intermediate sprint goes to Italy. Big battle, and Belgians suddenly wake up as well and grab 3 points, 2 to the Netherlands. United States take the 1. I was actually wondering if they may well just push on Italy, but not to be. I think we might get an attempt at a lap gain late. The Netherlands, just with those 2 points, now rise to 14 points. Italy with 5, they only had 1 point prior, now find themselves level 3rd with Australia with Amy Cure and Annette Edmondson. You know what we're saying about Belgium looking quiet? All of a sudden, Jolien D'Or and Lotte Kopecky have started just to follow the wheel of the Netherlands and may well nip through to pinch some points off them in the sprint. That's clever riding. I think they've probably learnt from Volikakis. Yeah, so the Belgian pairing, they were the first ever world champions of women's marathons. So it was first included in the World Championships in Hong Kong in 2017, which just seems madness to me that it took that long, but anyway, it did, and they won that first ever event. So definitely mean business, and they'll definitely be looking towards the Tokyo Olympics, and can they make that Olympic gold? Fantastic.
Dirigen goes, and she's dragged out Australia here. Well, we mentioned a few moments ago that Denmark are one of those teams that are capable of taking a lap. Kirsten Wild is more than aware of the danger they're in, and both she and Amy Peters capable of closing this kind of gap down. And look how attentive Kirsten Wild is. She wants to know where everybody else is. And it's they, after this exchange with Kirsten Wild coming in. Gosh, time for a chat. Don't see that very often in Madison.
Yeah, well, in the Madison, obviously, you're working as a team, and you get literally seconds to be able to communicate with your teammate. You know, whether that's you want to go on the attack, you want to go for the sprint, if you're not feeling so good. If your partner's not feeling so good, you can do things like, you know, if you're the one not feeling great, you can sort of ride faster on the blue line, so it's longer before you get thrown back into the race. And it literally is those seconds when they have the changeover to be able to have that little tiny bit of communication with each other.
The blues being played here by the United States and Italy. Denmark also getting up. Haven't spoken too much about Japan so far, with Furuyama and Nakamura out here. That was a very, very close, tight moment on the exchange. The Netherlands just coming up the track to try and find the rider who should have been descending, crossing over Italy. Nearly had an incident there, but gets away with it. And it looks like Denmark are now getting greedy, and Belgium back into this with Russia, the United States, Czechia, Poland come up and grab a point, taking the last of those available, but Lotte Kopecky doing a great job. And Belgium now up to second place on 8 points, so they have refound themselves.
Yeah, they have. So, yeah, good result there for the Belgian team. Also, first points we've seen on the board for Denmark. They're, of course, the current European champions, and I think we tend to see them more going for the lap gains, so I'm looking to see what they're trying to do later in the race. Currently, I'm just seeing Eleanor Barker for Great Britain coming over the top of this bunch, getting herself in position, so I'm thinking, what are they planning next?
Well, I have to plan something. They've got 8 points, so they're not that far down on the Netherlands. Don't forget, it's double points out the line for the final sprint, so the 5 available will transfer to 10th at the very last. Just showing you some of the exchanges here. Best way to exchange for the leading rider who is active and about to hand over to the passive rider is essentially just to offer yourself up a hook. They then pull and you then pull them. It sounds complicated, but it does become the norm, and when you're good at it, it shouldn't be pressured. But even the very best, there's a danger of pulling a shoulder out, and I've seen it many times. In fact, Moreno de Pau had his shoulder pulled out by Juri Harvik in one of the 6s last year, just because he wasn't tense enough at exactly the right moment, and that was that, shoulder out, and they were done for, I'm afraid. So it can happen to the best that you get the exchange wrong.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of the gym work that a lot of track riders will do comes in, a lot of core stability work, upper body work that you don't really think that you need as a cyclist, but to sort of be able to be strong all over will really benefit you a lot in your bike riding.
Well, it's very much found its place, and I have to say the discipline of the exchanges has been impeccable. You'd expect that at World Championships, but as a new discipline, a new skill set that had to be learned, it was a bit ragged at the beginning, back in 2017. However, it's now very much established as a fine event, and with Olympic status. And here comes Didrikson up and over the top, just starting to power into this one. And what will be the response of Kirsten Wild? Well, they're starting to think about the bell again. There's another exchange to be had. In fact, Julie left, and now it's Didrikson that comes in for this sprint, but Italy also very much engaged. Gosh, these teams playing with the blue and almost taking down the Netherlands. Coming up over the top, that was very, very close indeed. They both had to back out, and Italy will gain the rewards of that near incident. And there was a hand up there from Denmark, almost as if to offer an oath to the sky, but no words exchanged here, or indeed hand signals. So there we are, 15 kilometres to go. It's a tough sport, this, to get right all the time, and everyone has their moments, don't they?
Yeah, so it was a change there for the Dutch squad in the sprint lap, which is always going to be tricky, but it's also a great time to throw a fresh pair of legs in. So nothing wrong in that sense. But yeah, the sprint was already on. The Italian team are going for it. The Danish were trying to come around as well. But fortunately, everyone's staying upright on this occasion.
As a result of the last sprint, and this is what the oohs and ahs were all about a few moments ago, and I'm afraid Lotte Kopecky is on the deck. In fact, beg your pardon. Back up. Well, you know, Ireland also compromised here. Lydia Boylan down, I'm afraid. And let's have a look at how it happened. It's in the pack. It's really hard to see. It looks like first down was were the Irish, followed in by the Danes, who got collected. Well, there's mustering here for another sprint, but the active riders having to stay active for far longer. Haven't neutralised it, and guess what? This is an advantage being taken by France, and it looks like the steal may well be made. Everyone else slowed up, and she's going to get get a lap here by the looks of things. Now, I don't know how this is going to be regarded, but nonetheless, I think she may well have already started a move before the incident happened, and this is something that's going to be looked on with jealousy and maybe just a few frowns by everybody else. Pace is about to pick up, but we lost a couple of engine rooms off the pack out there, and France have taken advantage.
As well, also going after this lap, and the bunch has got some work to do now.
Browser and Klein are indeed chasing in. That's why the crowd are going absolutely mental. On Francophiles they probably are, but nonetheless, Caponi and Lynette, youngsters. And here they are with their exchange. This is fabulous to see. Clara Caponi and Marie Lynette, 2 podium finishes in the Season World Cup, but right now they're taking control of this race. Still not completed the job. They've just taken 5. 3 on the intermediate for Germany, but they've got a bigger prize, and Kirsten Wild realises that as well, so she's got no choice other than to power on and chase them down. This is great.
Yeah, if France gain this lap, they will go in the lead. So, the responsibilities on the teams that are losing out here. But currently, France executing this really nicely, and like I say, closely followed by the German pairing as well.
Yeah, the German's not quite close enough at hand in order to offer up an assist for this drive. Just resting up now is Brauser, who's done her turn. And a teammate, gosh, look at this. There's plenty of others that's now starting to join the fun. It looks like Germany may well have sat up. Japan now involved, taking over that mantle. This is fabulous to see. Well, Japan were absent from that, and all of a sudden they've made their way through traffic, and here they come. Well, this will be outstanding if Japan also make it back in, along with France. Germany having just stalled with a drive coming in from the Netherlands, and there's riders all over the track at the moment, so it's down to the commissaires to decide where the main body of the pack is for them to rejoin.
Yeah, so here we're just seeing the French pairing really tantalisingly close to the back of this group now. It's still 5 laps to go to the next sprint, so I don't think they'll hold off for that. I think they will try and get that lap gain sealed up there. That would put them straight in the lead. They're currently third on 10 points. This will be another 20 points to their name. The Dutch team are on 16 points.
Resting up riders, circulating at the track centre, which is not great. Once you're clear, you should be going up high, and indeed that's what this warning is all about right now. Resting riders actually making a nuisance of themselves. Once you've made your exchange, you drift up to the top of the track, so the yellow flags are coming out for those hampering this move. We've seen it, and they had to use the blue carpet a few moments ago. I'm hoping that France haven't been penalised for that, because I didn't see team number 5 it was that has been called here. Italy, in fact. So there we are. France, though, still going for this. How brave is this? And they're winding in enough of the stragglers to make a difference here. China coming down, hanging an arm, waiting for the exchange. They've got the Ukraine there, but it has fractured away from them, I'm afraid. They've still not been declared that lap. They're going to get, by default, the next intermediate sprint by the looks of it. Yeah,
really suffering now. Before I thought they were going to gain that lap in just a few laps' time, but now I think it's going to be a real tall order. I think they're obviously going to pick up these maximum sprint points here, just making the exchange now as we come over to the line. But I don't think they're going to gain that lap, because the field has got a bit more pace to it, and they've now got a good half a lap to make up.
Well, with 40 laps to go, what will be to their advantage is if everyone behind them sits up. Doesn't look like there's a chance of that happening. The favourites are still charging on, but France haven't given up. What a brave ride this is.
It is a really brave ride. They took their opportunity to go on the attack. They, took out a lot of ground very quickly, taken 2 sprints along the way, but now you can see the pain, you can see the legs just slowing down, that cadence becoming more and more difficult, and you're just desperate to see your partner and be able to change over and get a little bit of time to rest.
Well, 38 laps to go, so they've got the gift almost of being sort of between the intermediate sprints. They've got a passenger now in the Ukraine, as you can see, and we've got rider down for Germany as well, which is what the oohs and ahs were, but the camera's staying on France. No neutralisation, I guess. If they were told to bunch up, that may well help France, because they just sail into the back and gain that lap. So that's not been declared just for the time being. Italy getting lively, picking their way through. And there it is, still just a back straight to be made up by France. They're going to get in actually a little bit less than that. They are tantalisingly close to getting to those next group of 6 teams just ahead of them. I think they'll make it. Wow, they have just about done it. They are back in. I think they're going to be declared as lap gainers here, and boy, do they deserve it.
Yeah, I'm not quite clear where the head of the field is now, because we're now just seeing the Dutch team go off the front. I think we're going to see a quick replay from that crash. Yes, that is the German rider. I think Lisa Klein coming down there, unfortunately.
Yeah, looks like a touch of wheels with Italy at that moment. Meanwhile, 34 laps. We're waiting for the commissaire to identify the head of the field at the moment, but France still going for it. But Netherlands have taken off with Amy Peters and Kirsten Wild on a heartbreaker here, trying to wind in the French and indeed take a lap themselves with, guess what, Denmark in close attendance.
Yeah, this is a really strong pairing here. We know Denmark like to go on the attack to try and gain a lap. They've got a really strong Dutch squad there with them that really mean business. They're the current leaders. They've managed to neutralise previous attacks, and now these pairing are making good ground.
Here's France waiting to see. No lap gain announced for the French just for the time being. And so it's been a tough old test for them. They've been out there, and that's going to diminish them later on when the sprint starts to come thick and fast.
Yeah, I think they were really sort of hung out to dry there, then sort of drawn back in. And now I think the front of the field here, we've got the Dutch team, we've got the Danish squad. I think that's the Australians there as well, trying to get involved in this sprint. And currently Kirstenveld leading it out.
Yeah, so it's going to be another sprint. Don't be surprised if it powers on through. And here we are, Dixon coming up to steal it. Takes the 5, making sure that it's not going all the way. Australia, that's wrong. That graphic, so we'll have the correct one for you in a moment's time. Denmark with the Netherlands here. France really did start to run out of pace out there. Now there are 3 sprints remaining, including the last one, don't forget, with double points available at the line. But the Netherlands and Denmark, sprint winner was the Danes, and they're just working out who else have been intermingled with them. I think the Netherlands on the same lap as them. So right now we've got some real pace amongst the 2 favoured teams. Everyone else is back and running. Italy, well, where's the 3 points? Still haven't sorted that one out, but anyway, I imagine the Netherlands is where we were on that one. Although Italy, let's have a look. They haven't apportioned the points, even officially. They have now.
There we go, 3 points to the Dutch team.
Thankfully. So the Netherlands on 22. France on trailing them at the moment on 14. Could have been 24 if they'd made it in.
Could have been 34 if they'd made it in.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Your maths is better than mine. Yes, it did. It would have been the lead, but no. I think we're going to see a replay of this sprint, are we? Or we were on a replay while I was looking at those that scoreline. Meanwhile, they've got, what, half a lap? It doesn't look overly committed, does it? Because they're in a good place. Once they know that Belgium are on their case, maybe that will change. Belgium only 8 points. The Poles as well. I'm wondering if we're now seeing a move for a lap gain. It's a bit naughty out there, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this is one of the earliest sprints. I think this is where Italy got the warning for, because they came down too soon on the change that was taking place with the Dutch squad. So I think that's what we were seeing there. And now we're just seeing a bit of trouble for the Aussies as well.
Well, here we go. Here's that move as well. Oh, they're on a yellow at the moment. They could have been red carded if they don't calm it down.
Yeah, so that's a couple of incidents we've just seen there. But yeah, like you say, I think they're on a yellow at the moment.
Well, back up and racing, but we're looking at the head of the field at the and Russia decide to go on a flyer. Now they do have Netherlands lead on 27 points, France on 14 points. France need to do something. It's the next intermediate sprint. It's all going to come down to intermediates, and the Netherlands, if they point score here, and I'm afraid that
that's a warning for Great Britain.
Warning for GB, as you'd expect. I don't think it's to an advantage, but yeah, it was an error, just spearing through an exchange. Already committed to make the pass, I think, and it was just one of those traffic incidents. And with the team so locked together here, the bunch is compressed. You get these incidents, and the Aussies look like they've declared, thank you very much, there's no point continuing. They have gone. That's a shame.
It is a shame. Medalists at last year's World Championships, the Aussie girls, haven't had a great week, to be fair. So I think there'll be a lot of riders in the Aussie camp sort of going away, having a really good rethink ahead of the Olympics this summer. Sorry, last year's World Championships, they were on stellar form, men's and women's squads, but a bit of work to do now.
Bell's gone. Intermediate sprint, the penultimate sprint. So if the Netherlands here, they won't be able to be caught unless anyone takes a lap, and Kirstenveld wants all of the points. Thank you very much. This will take him to an unassailable lead. Phenomenal. Gets there. Johan Dor, I think, may have got just up. It says Poland, that's nonsense. The Netherlands. Thank you. We've been readjusted. Yeah, I'm afraid that maybe it's a transponder issue. I'm not quite sure, but as it stands, the Netherlands on 32 points. Italy on 14, France on 14, so there's Silver and bronze medals up for grabs at the final sprint. Denmark are going to want some of that. They're on 12 points. And Belgium also not out of a medaling position, but the Netherlands have just decided to skittle away and just show what they've got, quite frankly. So gold is going to go their way. And here come the Danes. They want silver medal out of this. They've got a lot of work to do because there'll only be 6 points up for grabs at the last sprint unless they can catch the Netherlands and take the 10. That will put them on 21 and get them the silver medal, depending on how Italy, France and the others score. Fascinating.
Yeah, so with the Dutch squad on 32 points, the winner's going their way. There's only 10 points available on the line, but second, third, fourth and fifth place are across 11 to 14 points. So very, very narrow for those other medal positions at the moment.
Yep. The Danes throwing in at the moment, but I think they can do enough in the sprint. 6 points up for grabs. Let's see, there they are. They're just following at the moment, albeit at a distance. Russia also engaging with the game, and here come Italy and France, and this is about defending silver and bronze medal position. They're both on the same points, so whichever team between Italy and France heads the other, if they both point score, they will indeed win, and likewise, even if they don't point score, whoever leads the other one home at the line will take the silver medal, because they're both on the same points, Italy and France. Meanwhile, the Netherlands in a very happy place, and indeed happy to share this approach duty really with Denmark. Here's Italy. France have been dropped out of this one. France have had a rough old time of things. Italy on a warning, but up for the time being, Italy heading for a silver medal. Denmark, though, will want to duke it out with them potentially in the sprint. 10, 6 and 4. If Denmark take 10 and indeed Italy or France take 6, the Danes could indeed vault both of those teams, and they know it. Bell's gone though, and Italy look lively. It's here. They've made a steal down the back straight. This is fabulous. This is what it's about. Balsamo goes for it, and indeed burying herself. And France have woken up to the threat for Italy here. Oh, is France going to come over the top? It's tight. Oh, they got there. France steal the silver medal. That is fantastic. That's what it's about at the very last. France gets silver. Italy the bronze. The Netherlands, of course, already winners here. Belgium in fourth place ahead of Denmark, who ran out of steam towards the end. Great Britain, despite their bumps and bruises, finished in sixth place on 9 points, but finishing ahead of Poland, who share that points tally, who Britain just edged at the line. Russian Federation in eighth place ahead of the United States and Germany. DNFs, Australia and Belarus, from what was a rough old race, wasn't it?
It was. I think a rough race is a sort of probably good word to describe it. So we saw an awful lot of crashes, which no one ever wants to see. Warnings going out to a number of teams, but this pair were consistently on top, always in a good position, scoring it pretty much every sprint, I think, consistently up there. What a brilliant pair, and Kirsten Wild and Amy Peters, the Dutch squad.
Well, it's Amy Peters by far and away the slighter athlete here. The powerhouse is Kirsten Wild, but fulsome in her thanks and congratulations to her teammates, and our congratulations to France. What a gutsy performance that was, and Italy in tears with the bronze. She and Amy Peters supreme, beating France, and Italy not too pleased about ceding the silver at the very last lap, but France deserved it after trying to take a lap on the field. They were the bravest out there, I think.
They were. So I did really enjoy watching them give that a really, really good go. And look at the delight here with the silver medal. Really, really happy with that. You saw a lot of pain on their faces whilst they were trying to get that lap, but they picked up a lot of points along the way. So, you know, the effort's paid off and they've come away with this silver. Yeah,
I think precisely that. And what was great was, tactically, Joe, they regathered themselves and went again.
Yep.
Italy have now finally realised that they've got themselves a medal. I actually wondered whether, for a moment, they thought they'd missed out on a medal altogether. But they do have a bronze. Well, this is our a look back at the Omnium from earlier on today. Great Britain with Matt Walls engaged. We had scratch race and then the tempo. We're just waiting for the elimination race, by the way. Yeah, on the scratch race, Supreme effort by Benjamin Thomas of France and Matt Walls. They lapped the field, and indeed on the scratch race, and came home 1 and 2 at the end of it. When we got to the tempo, this is how we stacked up after the scratch race. When we got to the tempo, it was Willem van Schip who woke up during that race, just nabbing a few on the line in the tempo race, where it only pays to be out front. Anyone in your wake gets nothing as the lap counts and the points gained start to assemble. It's a cruel event.
I was just about to say it's a cruel race. You stole the words right from my mouth there. It is, you know, you have to be the leading rider. Second, third, fourth place, each lap counts for nothing. So you often get a rider accruing a lot of points if they do get away like this, which then basically means the rest of the field are ranked by the very last lap, by the very final sprint. So you can often get a lot of riders on 0 points, and that, you know, their ranking just coming down to that very end bit there. There's Matt Walls just missing out on a point there, I think. So, yeah, bodies everywhere in this race.
Indeed, and likewise scorelines. Willem van Schip took the tempo race with Benjamin Thomas, courtesy of his bravery early on, getting second place. Matt Walls, who was 4th overall, was 7th in the tempo. As you can see, just nabbed from points. But look how tight it is coming into this eliminator. Let's hope nobody does a Valente and gets trimmed off early. In the women's Omnium yesterday, Jennifer Valente was in a second place and made a big mistake in the elimination race, proving that every single discipline within the Omnium is vital. You must not have any brain fade, and this is one of those where it's easy to just misread the approach to the line. Just to remind you, the bell goes and you have a sprint lap, and when that happens, it's every other lap the sprint, by the way. The person who crosses the line last, next time by, there is the line on your screen right now, they get trimmed off the back, and so the race, really, our attention is drawn to the rear. It used to be called the Devil take the hindmost, but these days it's now called an elimination race, which kind of is better explanation. People used to go on about the Devil, people just used to wonder what on earth they were going on about. But yes, the eliminator. Those little beacons on the bars, they will go off when you are out. You get a flashing diode to tell you you're gone. It'll also be announced by the stadium announcer, and indeed there will also be a number held up by the commissaire. So there's 3 reasons for you to realise that you're out.
Occasionally people don't manage not to notice those 3. That has happened before, and if that does happen, they do tend to neutralise the race and really wait for that rider to get out. So like you say, no real excuse, and if you were to stay in, it can really affect the result of the rest of the race. So it's quite important to get riders out quickly and get on with it. Yeah, in the olden days, before the diodes flashing and just relying on numbers being held up, whistles being blown, gosh, it used to be a mess, didn't it? But it's now been formalised as part of the Omnium. It has. It's interesting that they've had to sort of bring all these elements in, because it's a race where that judge decision in a split second, who is last over the line, needs to be communicated quickly so that you can continue with the rest of the race. It's often a race that is run at really high speeds. We're seeing Lassie Norman-Hansen there, already a world champion this week in the team pursuit, obviously previous Olympic champion as well in the Omnium. Matt Walls is also at the blue band as we go in reverse here. Roger Kluger's racing. Campbell Stewart for New Zealand. Christos Volikakis, the Greek, he's in here as well. Great to pick out Eli Viviani, fantastic Omnium rider that he is. Not having such a good time though, 9th in the scratch race, 14th in the tempo, but Elia is a master at the points race and he likes this. He's had great success in the past. He wears his bands, his golden bands, with pride, having been done a job at the Olympics. Yeah, so reigning Olympic champion from Rio. This is a different format Omnium to what we had at the Rio Olympics, so it's changed again. It's now 4 events all in the same day and no timed events, so all bunch events. So you'd think this would play into his hands really as a competitor and his strengths. Well, let's wait and see. He's got that rather fetching Chinese style helmet. We've got the first one off, and it's Spain. Oh my goodness. Well, he's not going to be happy about this.
Azuzubadia, I don't think he thought he'd gone. That's if you're down at the bottom, really, it's the worst place to be. You get more freedom to move because you've got half a track to play with that's above you, if you like, up towards the rail. The riders that sit in front of you down at the bottom, and Denmark are in trouble here. You can find yourself suddenly out the back with nowhere to go.
Oh dear.
He was searching forlornly, and that is Lasse Norman Hansen. Disaster.
Exactly as we saw yesterday. Second place rider out second.
Oh, well, there you are. That is going to be wounding. He was in a great place, and right now he's got to watch while others assemble an awful lot more points. He's only going to get 2 points out of that, and somebody, the winner, is going to get 40. So he is going to tumble big time. He's on 70 points at the moment. He's got to hope that his competitors go badly. Hungary next to go. Gosh, Volikakis was quick about it, wasn't he, to try and but Slovaski was right down at the bottom. Lasse Norman Hansen, can you believe that?
After what happened yesterday, I can, because it literally is an exact repeat. The rider that was second overall has been out second, which at a lap to go, you were just saying how it's the rider at the bottom that can be in the most danger, and that is exactly what happened. He looked fine with a lap to go, but he was right at the bottom of the track there, and then by the time he realised it, it was just too late. You
saw him looking around, just trying to blame somebody, but only himself trying to go next. Trying to go, sure, or not having the best of runs. Bell's gone. Portugal need to take care here. This is Stanishevski, one of the big six-day riders. Going to try and get up. Volikakis in trouble on the blue line. Down at the bottom, Switzerland may well have some problems, and we've got an incident here. And
Cameron
it's Australia, yeah, hits the deck. So no sprint. He got away with it. It was only just at the very last, and he was in a bad position, but nonetheless they will have a sprint next time round. Next time by, or they're neutralising. Well, occasionally we race on, but then the rider is allowed back in with the disadvantage of having taken a tumble, but we have a neutralisation now.
The neutralisation in elimination race is one of the fastest neutralisations you will ever see. Yes. No one wants to go to the back of that bunch.
Yeah, indeed. Looks like his bike is compromised here. Have a look at it. Shoulders with the Netherlands up into the United States. Here's watch the orange. That's where it started. It's hard to apportion blame though when it's so packed together.
Yeah, very, very tightly packed there. So the American rider doing well to hold his bike up there. But yeah, initially it was that clash of shoulders between the Netherlands and Australia. Cameron Meyer coming down there, but back on his bike quickly. Cameron Meyer, a multiple world champion, mostly in the points race. So looking forward to seeing how he takes on the rest of this Omnium, because the points race, which is the final event, is his speciality.
However, he's only on 34 points, which is a goodly margin, 44 adrift of Benjamin Thomas, who leads. We haven't mentioned Thomas because he's been in a safe place out front. That's where you need to be. Portugal yet again playing with fire. Germany not in a handsome place, I'm afraid, struggling to get up above the blue line. Volikakis is in problems at the bottom. Look at everybody else start to skittle away. It'll suddenly reveal as we cross the line who's going to be trimmed off. Volikakis right down at the bottom. Well, he still had, off the last corner, so many, and Volikakis so many behind him, and I think that's why riders just don't believe it on occasion. But in the end, it was a full wheel length, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it can look ever so safe at a lap to go, and you can think, no way am I going to be out. But as it progresses, it often is that person stuck at the bottom of the track with nowhere else to go.
Yeah, it's Leung of Hong Kong at the bottom this time by, but we're going to see Canada go. That was just a mistake with pace, and Hoover, I'm afraid, gets cleaned out of it. Meanwhile, it's Mexico at the bottom of the track in trouble. The big names who are in a decent place, don't worry too much that we haven't mentioned them. It's because they're out front and our attention is towards the back. Number 31 Prado is in trouble. He's found a bit of space, has he? Well, there you go. All of a sudden it disappeared. But who got it? Was it Portugal have been called, or Mexico? Mexico. Wow. My eyes were right first time by. He can't believe it. I guess as well, when your body's further ahead as well, we're going to see the replay. Yeah, there it is. So quick, the replay these days, and it's a gift, isn't it?
Yeah, it has to be in this event. You know, we have to get those quick decisions, and that was a very tough one on the line. But yeah, correct decision made there, and Prado from Mexico being eliminated. And
Hong Kong actually bailed, just pulled the ripcord and say thank you very much. I'm going to save myself for the points race. But down towards the bottom of the field, calling it as Hong Kong China here in the auditorium, as you may well have heard. Sensibilities. Meanwhile, Belgium looking like they may be in a modicum of trouble. Ukraine trapped here. The clever thing for other riders is to hold them there, sort of shut the door really and prevent them coming up. Ukraine at the bottom. Now can everyone else get up? Portugal in trouble. Ukraine still the worst place to be. And that's not a good moment, I'm afraid, for the Ukraine. It's Zeus with a D that takes the walk, I'm afraid. So now it starts to get rather busy. Everyone, we've trimmed off more or less, well, what, 7 of the bottom 9. 7 of the bottom 8, actually. Oh, Belgium have just popped out the back, I'm afraid. That's not good. That's Van den Bosch.
It was 15th overall coming into this, so done quite well to get this far in this event.
Stanishevsky still holding on for Poland. He was the one that would have been trimmed off when Cameron Meyer went down, so he's had a let-off. Cameron Meyer shoulder to shoulder with him at the moment, and Portugal down at the bottom. America in a bit of bother as well. Who's next off this final curve? Portugal.
Yeah, they've been playing with the fire for a few laps there. Held on nicely, but now going out 16th place overall coming into this.
Well, now it's kind of gone to form. Apart from that, Lasse Norman Hansen, what a wounding result that will be for him in this.
I know, the elimination race can really completely affect the whole omnium. You get these split seconds and, you know, make a little mistake and that's it, you're out. There's no ability to make amends at all. So, yeah, disappointment there for the Danish rider.
Eli Viviani saw the danger, didn't want to be trapped, drove up, but it's Kazakhstan, I'm afraid, that are going to get trimmed. Kazakhstan with Zakharov was actually going very, very well. He was running in 5th place, and he would have hoped for more. Well, it's not been as bad for him as it has been for Lasse Norman Hansen. 5th place garners you 32 points, and Lasse Norman gets 2. That shows you the difference and the danger of this event.
Yeah, it makes a huge, huge difference being out that early. So currently all our favourites are up there safely. Campbell Stewart, the defending champion, coming to this event 8th place currently, just sat there behind Matt Walls of Great Britain.
Viviani left it very late there, and Portugal do find, Belarus, I beg your pardon, will go this time by.
Belarus in 24th place coming into this event, so he's held on nicely there to take a 12th place. This will put him nicely up the field.
Yeah, best result that he's had so far, finishing last in both the previous disciplines, actually. But anyway, here we go. Poland being held here by the Americans who've got the higher line. Germany have got to watch out. So, at the bottom,
Was it Viviani or Great Britain?
Yeah, it's Matt Walls. Hits one.
4th place coming into this round, Matt Walls. I thought that might have been Viviani on the line there, but wow, that was tight.
Very much so. A let-off, I think, for Viviani. Matt Walls sees it, won't like that at all. He was runner-up, don't forget, in the scratch, 7th in the tempo. And right now, he's going to be, what, 9th in this one. Gosh. Viviani's in trouble. He's down at the bottom. He's got to pick up to nowhere. Oh, that's impossible. There must have been 4 riders there. Who's declared? They're going for a photo.
Giving it to USA. His box is flashing there. Gavin
There
Hoover.
we are. That was so tight. I hope we get a replay. Gavin Hoover, let's have a look at it. Here it is. Oh, well.
Oh, I don't know how they called that one.
I don't either. That looked like for all, I would have backed Poland to be gone then, but no. Viviani's woken up to the danger, and this time by Switzerland it is that get the bullets. Well, he was the last of the bottom 10 surviving, and he's gone. Benjamin Thomas is still there, indeed just tucked in behind the Netherlands, which is Willem van Schip, who looks very good. He's been quiet, hasn't he, which is what you need in this race. Meyer, who took a tumble, still active, but he's in trouble now as the Poles lock him in. And he shakes his head ruefully as if to say, all right, fair enough, and away he goes.
8th place for Cam Meyer there. So came into this event in 13th place, 14th in the scratch race, 7th in the tempo. So it's actually his best result so far, and we do know he's a very strong points race rider.
Well, hovering at the back has been Poland Stanishevski, and I feel like he's going to run out of resources in a moment. How much more does he want to embed himself? Roger Kluge is in front of him, great 6-day rider himself. Stanishevski's got a massive door open, and the Germans are worried. Oh, but he retrieves it. So even with, it's a temptation, isn't it? You see so much track available, but it disappears very quickly.
It does, and I think Poland have been playing with fire for a long time there, but Roger Kluge there from Germany, you could hear the noise from the crowd willing him on out the saddle down that finish straight, and thankfully nipping past with a good half a bike length to spare there.
Well, he's a wily old dog, is Roger Kluge, and he plays the game very well. Japan picking up here, crowd almost warning him. Hashimoto it was, the oohs and the ahs, he gets that verbal instruction, I think. Hashimoto goes next. Eli Viviani's not had a good run in this Omnium, wants some maximum points so that he can get out of this. He was 9th in the scratch, 14th in the tempo, but he's good enough to impose himself on this one and grab 40, which will tee him up nicely for the points race. Let us see. At the back of the moment, but we know about his pace. He's going to come up over the blue line, and this looks like Germany in trouble. Here we go, big sprint. Oh no, Viviani's gone. Surprise. Viviani takes the bow. Looks a bit breathy, I must admit.
Still his best result so far this Omnium. So
yeah.
9th in the scratch, 14th in the tempo, so 5th now in the elimination race. Still a good result there.
And still 32 points, you'll take that. Kluge comes up, doing a 6-day thing. He's been on the bubble a couple of times, and France under pressure here. Benjamin Thomas, he's in the lockdown. They're holding him there. They're bullying him. France go out. Clever riding by everybody else, I think, knowing that Benjamin Thomas is a huge, huge favourite, and indeed now finishes not bad in 4th place for this one. He'll probably take that, still be in the lead overall. By the time we get to the end, Willem van Schip will be looking for more points, the Netherlands rider. 10 points in arrears of Benjamin Thomas, so he won't topple him, but he will leap ahead of Lasse Norman Hansen. Big run. Kluge's in the frame here, and it is Van Schip that goes this time by. Kluge still thrives. This is great racing, isn't it?
This is brilliant racing, so it's going to really turn the standings on its head. A big loss for Lasse Norman Hansen, but now we are left with Roger Kluge and defending champion Campbell Stewart from New Zealand. Campbell
Stewart, 6th in the scratch, 10th in the tempo, wants victory here, thank you very much, and he's got home favourite Roger Kluge. And indeed Kluge says, all right, if you want it that much, have it, and I'll see you later in the points race. And in fact, Campbell Stewart will now move to just behind Roger Kluge in the standings for the Omnium. What a great event, and it makes for a very entertaining points race with so many riders close together.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a fascinating points race later. I think there's going to be a lot of riders with an agenda of going for a lap. There's going to be riders with a lead to defend that will be trying to keep it to sprints. Yeah, definitely proves to be a brilliant one to watch. And of course, a lot of home crowd support here for Roger Kluge, but the defending champion there, Campbell Stewart, acknowledging his competitor, all to play for later on this evening.
Well, we will be back for the sprint for the points and the title, but at the moment, Campbell Stewart well back in the fray after winning this eliminator. We'll be back with more after this short break. It'll be the men's sprinters back out again in their second run in the quarterfinal. Still, you don't see the name of Lasse Norman Hansen of Denmark, who was running in second place, and there he is. 2 points. not great. So let's have a look at the Omnium standings, shall we? This is the important bit. What has happened to Lasse Norman Hansen? That's the big ask. We can ask all we want. Here it is. Benjamin Thomas on 112 points. Lasse Norman Hansen drops to 9th from 2nd after that disaster. Same thing happened to Jennifer Valenti yesterday. But how close is it at the top? 15 points blanketing the top 5. And indeed Matt Wall's still functioning very well in 5th place. Here we go. It's time to go sprinting again. It's quarterfinals stage. And indeed, where we are at the moment, Harry Levrazen is facing Jura Nita. Levrazen took the first. Can he get straight through to the semis with victory here? I think the answer's probably going to be yes.
Yeah, he was the fastest qualifier this morning, a 9.2, which is incredibly fast at sea level. He's in supreme form, won the team sprint, 2 new world records, won the clearing as well. But this just means there's even more pressure on his shoulders. Everyone is expecting him to win, and he's still got to go out there and deliver the goods.
He has. Well, he's taken the first, and it looks like he's going to take the second as well. He's got the power. He's not even pouring it on yet. Nita's busy, but Levrazen is only just getting up to pace, and what pace he has. Out of the saddle again, plonks himself back down. It's the final lap, and these the final moments for Nita. Straight through goes Harry Levrazen, and he looks like a favourite for this, notwithstanding the fact that he's got, of course, 2 Netherlands teammates, and they are a powerhouse when it comes to sprinting. We have Matty Buckley, defending champion, who's not looking great at the moment, but Jeffrey Houland as well. It could be a podium lockout. They've done it before.
It could. So Levrazen is through now to the next round of racing. Houland we're going to have up next, who's already won his first event. Buckley in the 30, who actually got beaten, so he's got a little bit of work to do. But like you say, last year it was a Dutch 1-2 in this event with Levrazen and Houland. Houland actually the European champion, was, yeah. But Levrazen looking like he's in supreme form at this championship.
So, that's really my notes, apologies. So next up we have Jeffrey Houland, who won against Stefan Bottiger of Germany, and that's what the roar is all about as they get called to their marks, and here they are. Groovy tyres, I must say, for the Netherlands. Going for the red. Do you like it?
Well, ignoring the tyres, I like their kits. They're one of the easiest kits to pick out. Just having,
for us, it's
good orange.
Yeah,
there's too many kits that are white with various stripes on. So yeah, no, I like it.
And what about these Koga bikes, which are now, of course, well and truly on display ahead of the Olympics?
Yeah, well, they've been delivering all season, consistently good, the Dutch men's sprint squad. There's been no sort of question marks over their form at all. They've got so much strength and depth as well, but obviously equipment's good and they're racing really well.
Stefan Bolliger's no pushover for anybody, but his problem is he's facing Jeffrey Houland, who's an absolute monster.
Yeah, so the German rider qualified down in 10th place this morning with a 9.5. Houland from the Netherlands was 2nd place with a 9.3. So 2/10 difference between the two in qualifying. That's pretty significant in a flying 200. So, on paper, we're looking at Houland, though you can't discount the home advantage here in Berlin.
Well, men's team sprint champion, of course, with Levrazen and Van der Berg. Matty Buckley was the reserve in that. And right now we have Levrazen and Houland. Levrazen's already gone through, Houland about to. Matty Buckley will also be coming out next up against Rudzic of Poland. The Pole beating Buckley in the last one. It looks a bit under the weather, I must admit, Matty Buckley. But Houland here just stalking his man. What can Stefan Bottiger do? It's hard to dictate the tactics when you're out front. Generally it tends to be the following rider who has the gift of knowing which lines to take and how to ambush you.
Yeah, so really staying very, very high bed run as we come down to the bell, using all the height of the track to get as much speed as possible, but Houland already closing that gap so quickly. And
round the outside he comes, and he's just going to finish this one off. Surely big kickback. Oh, that was cheeky. That's a man absolutely at the top of his form, eased off, and I went, no. It was almost like offering a kid a packet of sweets, and when he goes to take one, you snatch it away. Hulan's through. He's got the power. And he even allowed himself a bit of showboating at the end there.
Yeah, a 9.7 final 200 metres, and yeah, clearly sort of easing up as well.
Here we go. Now, watch this. Have a look. You want some? Really? You think you can? And then he just went again. Oh dear. I guess when you have so much confidence, you can afford to display it.
Exactly, and you know, he's delivering, and 2 straight rides there, job done, put himself nicely through.
Well, the problem for Matty Buckley is, not only is he not on the best of form at the moment, he's going to take the longer route through if he does progress, because he's trailing at the moment from Jurjic, so he'd have to square it up and then win it on the best of 3. So he's got 2 teammates who've gone through cleanly, Netherlands teammates. Leverkusen has beaten Nita of Japan. Huland has beaten Buttiger of Germany. Now Buckley will have to take on 3 elements of this quarter-final. I guess he's got overnight to get over it. That's the gift, isn't it?
Yes, so currently Jurjic 1-0 up. He was the faster qualifier, qualified in 3rd position. Buckley down in 11th, so on paper Jurjic, you know, is the man that's faster today. If he can win this one, it's job done. Buckley has got to take it to a decider. He has got a rainbow jersey already to his name this championships from the team sprint. Disappointment for him though in the keirin, so time to try and make amends for that.
Yes, he was the reserve as well, so he didn't complete in all of the team sprint disciplines, but he was there at the beginning, and so has a world champions jersey, but he'd like to have one all on his own, thank you very much, and this may be the chance to do it. Trouble is, he's got to get rid of Mateusz Jurjic, who won the World Cup. Mr. Consistent, I think. He won 3, but the Netherlands weren't there in the last 3 of Cambridge, New Zealand, Brisbane, Australia, and Milton in Canada. So I guess you take what you are given. And he said, thank you very much, I'll have a World Cup title.
Yeah, it's all good racing experience. It's all that sort of process of preparing for race day, travel, taper, all that sort of thing. So, you know, obviously you want to try and beat the best riders in the world, but it's also still really good experience to be able to go out to all those races.
Jinking and diving now. It's a wake-up call for Matty Buckley here, and here comes Jurjic. He's stalking him. There's no shame in it when you just have that dip in form. It's come at the wrong time for him though. Mateusz Jurjic, all credit to him. He goes through. He'll be in the semi-finals. We'll see who he faces, shall we?
Yes, we've just got one more round of the quarterfinals to go. So the riders that win these events will go through. The next race will actually be tomorrow now, but the first round of the semi-finals. So they've got overnight to recover. So for anybody for the first 3 riders that have got through in the 1 straight heat, that's job done for the day. Time to get recovering, have a recovery shake, get a warm down done, get back to the hotel, get rested up, ready for tomorrow morning. Heat
4 with Awang and Fukaya coming to the track right now. That's nice to see, isn't it? I don't think the Netherlands coach wouldn't have had that happy demeanour had he not seen 2 of his charges go through to the semi-final stage.
Yes, that's true.
However, Jurjic has made it. So it looks like, in terms of the times for the last 200, which will dictate the seedings for the semis, that the fastest 2 so far are both Dutch riders.
Yep.
So it looks like they won't face themselves in the semis.
Yeah, so they qualify first and second, so they should not face each other in the semi-finals, but then meet if they both were to win in the finals.
Yeah,
hopefully. That's what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Awang is getting vocal. Much quieter is Fukaya. And they're having a bit of a stare down. Oh, and Awang gives him a little nod, as if to say, right, let's do this. I love all of that mental shenanigans at the beginning.
Yeah, Awang, always a crowd favourite, and you know, these are the things that make up his personality, and this is why everyone loves to watch him race. Never scared of reputation, always gives it a really good go. Already a medalist in the Keirin this week, so we know he's on good form. Now determined to make his way through to the semi-finals. Already one win up in this.
Well, here is Wang in the black of Malaysia, being chased down at the moment by Fukaya of Japan. A pair of them separated by 83 thousandths last time by, and the Malaysian Tiger T-shirts of his coaches told him to go for it. Indeed, he opens it right now. Is he going to lead it all the way? Now, the Keirin man is coming up around the outside. Is he going to get to him? That's the point. He may well get there. Oh, it's on the line, but I think Wang held on. They've declared it, but said photo. But I think he's going to safely go. And he does. His coach is happy. There we are. Fukaya gave that a very, very good late run. Good surge, but it's Wang that will go through. And indeed, he will face Harry Livraison, and Rujic will face Huland at the very last. In the semi-finals, I should say.
Look how close that is there on the line.
Well, do they want to see it again? I do. And again, ding, 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 ding. Here it is. Oh, I thought they were going to show us again. Wang qualifies. It's now official. There it is. It's not by much, is it?
No, it pushed all the way to the line there by Fukaya, but really popular win there for Wang. Definitely through to the semi-finals, definitely a top 4 position at this year's World Championships. But now it's a question of him whether he'll be racing for the gold and silver or for the bronze and 4th place.
I think he'll be racing for bronze, the way the Netherlands are going at the moment, up against Rujic, but you never know. We'll take a break and we'll be back with more. Here are your semi-finals. It'll be in time, so it should be Livraison versus Wang, Huland versus Rujic. And looking forward to it. Is up and in this final. We'll get to that in a few moments' time. Individual pursuiting, records falling yet again. What's going on?
Yeah, what is going on? The times this morning for the women's individual pursuit were absolutely insane. So first of all, Chloe Dygert, up early in qualifying, beats her own world record by nearly 3 seconds, sorry, to go a 3:17.2. Previous record 3:20.0. You'd think she's going to be head and shoulders above everyone else until Lisa Brenner puts at a 3:18, and these two girls here, Francesca Browser and Lisa Klein, 3:20 and 3:21 respectively. Insanely fast times.
Let's deal with this, shall we? Browser versus Klein. German fans are going to be happy with a bronze medal. Can they take a gold as well? Well, Chloe Dygert, unfortunately, is in the way of Lisa Brenner, but strange things happen, I guess. Let's wait and see. At the moment, it's Chloe Dygert who will be running off for gold. It holds the world record at 3:17.283. The times have been stunning. There we are.
I remember the times when we would have been pleased with that as a team pursuit time with 3 people. So, yeah, really, really out of this world fast.
Let's have a look at the gaps there. It's a substantial one, a third of a second at the 500-metre mark, I must say. Advantage at the moment with Lisa Klein. Bowser has to pick this up, but she will do later in the run. But by how much? It's very difficult to gauge your pace. It's over 3 kilometres, this is a reminder to everybody.
Yeah, so this morning, Browser of Germany having the fastest closing kilometre out of anybody in this competition. It's just her last kilometre this morning was a 1:03. For comparison, Dygert rode a 1:05 and Brenner rode a 1:07. So really finishes strongly, Francesca Browser.
Yes, so that's the first kilo done. Now, watch the gap be held here by Browser, and then the gap start to come down. In fact, it already has started to come down. 20 hundredths, indeed, 20 thousandths just trimmed off. 2 hundredths. Meanwhile, Klein, who went out very, very quickly, still holds the clock, but Browser's coming. And there it is, 0.175. And I suspect next time by, when we hit this next time check, she may well take the clock. Not quite. That's the 1500 metre mark. 1625 is up next. Now then, will the clock switch? And it does, and by a handsome margin as well. And Klein is now just starting to fade after that early start. The only way to do it is how you're most comfortable. But now Browse are really starting to eat into the track here. Well, the weather conditions with low pressure, it's been drizzly weather throughout northern Europe. And indeed, right now, Browser, indeed the climbs, the times just starting to come her way. Now, we remind you of the record. We have to. It's 3:17.283. It was 3:20.6, so we stole nearly, well over 2 seconds off that marker. And right now, this is another very, very strong run, considering the efforts that they put in earlier on today. And Browser, though, in control of this bronze medal runoff.
These riders also competing in the Madison as well, just, a matter of less than an hour ago. So, busy day of bike racing for these girls. Also, both bronze medalists from the first day of competition here. Browser looking really strong now, a second lead with 2 laps to go. Powering away there, holding a brilliant aerodynamic position there.
Yes, she is. A little bit of lateral movement. You'll forgive that of anybody at this stage. See the bike just wavering up away from the black line towards the red. And here we are. Browse is going to take this bronze medal and coming to stop the clock as she will next time by. Here it is. World record beyond her, of course, but 3:24.284, considering the time that she spent on the track today. That's impressive. Bronze medal for her. And Klein, it will be, that finishes 4th in this competition. But German female sprinting, and indeed track riding, I should say, and pursuing, you name it, they are in charge, aren't they?
They really are. So they've come to this championships, their home world championships, in incredible form, surprising a lot of people, maybe not everybody, with their bronze medal in the team pursuit, but riding some incredibly quick times. And here, 21-year-old Franziska Browser really lapping up the noise from this crowd, really enjoying this moment, a bronze medalist at the World Championships.
Loving the performances we're seeing here. Absolutely outstanding. It's been a great championship, isn't it? I know it's not over, it's far from over. We still have, of course, a run for gold here in the women's individual pursuit, and the men's omnium to be decided, and the whole day of racing tomorrow when the men's sprinters are out, the women's Kieran as well. We've got the men's Madison, of course, and the points race for the women. It's a busy old programme tomorrow, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot going on tomorrow. So men's Madison, women's points race, men's sprint conclusion. Like you say, exciting.
Well, commiserations for Lisa Klein, but Browser doing a job. Now then, what have we got here? We've got Chloe Dygert, who is bossing the world at the moment, and Lisa Brennauer. I think this may well be closer than perhaps those at home may think. Chloe Dygert has, well, we're having a look back at this record. Here we go.
Yeah, this is her qualifying ride this morning, catching her Italian opponent there. She was off very early in the qualification heats. There's Gary Sutton, her coach from the USA team, urging on all the way, 3:17.2, nearly 3 seconds off her own world record.
It's an enormous leap forward, isn't it?
It is an enormous leap forward, and one I don't think I'm entirely surprised by. Her previous record was set 2 years ago now, March 2018 in Appledorn. In that time, Chloe Dygert has won the individual time trial at the World Championships in Yorkshire in September 2019, and in emphatic form there. And I think, I think there's more to come from her. I don't even think this is her on top form this week. I think she's just going to get better and better as we head towards the Olympics in Tokyo.
So Lisa Brennauer faces her, and if anyone can push her, she can. She also bettered the mark, but it was essentially reset by Chloe Dygert. Yeah,
so Chloe was off early, so she set the new world record. Had Lisa Brennauer been off early, she would have had the world record briefly for a matter of minutes before Chloe's time had gone on, but not quite meant to be. But I think, yeah, a lot of us have been surprised at how close these two riders are on paper now.
So we'll see whether the world record, I'm not expecting it to be broken again, but we'll see whether the efforts in setting that mark have affected Dygert, and whether Brennauer can take advantage and indeed use home advantage, a track she knows extremely well, all the geometry of it, just where to drift, where to start using the banking, and we're talking in very small margins here, particularly in individual pursuiting, but nonetheless, let's see how she works the red line, and she is starting to do it down the back straight. At the moment, Dygert, though, is in charge with Lisa Brennauer to come back, and it's Dygot's taking a more modest line, the shortest route through, closest to the black at the bottom of the track. As you come here, you'll see that using above the red line, Brenau drifts into that position to open up, if you like, the view of the curve, of which they are very big here, the curves on this 250 track. It's more of an oval, really, than a lozenge. We keep saying it, but it's just to sort of help you get the shape of the track here in Berlin into your head. But Dygot's in great shape, isn't she? And look at this advantage she has as we head up towards the kilo right now. And nearly a second up, may well be that marker, 0.853. It's close to that. Dygot is flying.
She is up on her world record pace from this morning. That is 0.2 of a second quicker than her opening kilo this morning. She means business. She does not want this title to go to anyone else, and she's putting out a bigger and bigger gap now. Well,
it's gets ever closer to the second, and Brenau's going quickly, but Dygot's on world record pace. So the gold, and indeed yet another world title, world marker may well come her way. Can we get under 3:17? Dare we even dream of that?
I think we can dream of that. You know, she is in incredible form. She's gaining more and more over Lisa Brenau here. We're going to wait to the 2K mark and see where she stands there compared to her time this morning. But look at her. She looks so solid on that bike, so smooth. Just keep putting that power out.
Well, the gift she's got as well, fast track, near perfect conditions, but also Brenau is very, very fast, and if she gets sight of her, that will help mentally, but also there will be an aero advantage as well for her. The air is being disturbed by Brenau in front of Dygot, and there is a small tunnel that she can sail into. She's 2.5 seconds up, 2 minutes and 19 at the 21.25.
And she is 1/10 of a second up on her world record pace from this morning at the 2K mark, so agonisingly close to that. Can she keep that going and break her world record again?
That's the big question. She's going to be a world champion, but will she get a world record to boot? Let's wait and see. The target time is 3:17.283. Brenau knows she's beaten, and that may well also go the way of Chloe Dygot as she starts to close this gap. She will, as we mentioned, get that aero advantage. Super work, just starting to stake ever so slightly as we come to the final phase of her run here. And just look at this, she's got sight of it. There's the bell that she takes. This is absolutely remarkable. 3:17.283 is the mark she's got to get. Dygot's flying at the moment, the last 250 and less than that right now. Can she possibly do it? She comes around the outside. This is a phenomenal run that she's setting here. What a pace! New world record! 3:16.937. I am absolutely speechless. What do you say about that?
I don't know where to start. She was slightly up on her world record pace throughout that ride, and I think I always thought she had a bit more in her. She qualified early this morning. She didn't have a benchmark to compare herself to anybody else. She would have seen the other times and realised that the track is running faster. She must have believed there was just a little tiny bit more to give. She gives absolutely everything on the bike when she goes out there racing, and she doesn't believe there's any limits. She's a supremely talented rider, executed that individual pursuit brilliantly, paced well from the start, pulled out a bigger and bigger margin over Lisa Brenau, and look at her, another world record, second one of the day.
That was so special. What a very, very special rider we have in Chloe Dygot. Well, I didn't think 3:17 would fall, and guess what? We're in the 16s, for goodness sake. No limits.
I mean, for perspective, in 2012, when we won the team pursuit at the World Championships, a team of 3 riders, we won that in a time of 3:15. So she is incredibly close to what riders were doing, as teams of 3 before now. So like the Lisa Brenau, acknowledging the crowd there, silver medal at the World Championships, huge new personal best national record for her, for Germany. But this woman here, Chloe Dygot, head and shoulders above everyone else today.
Oh, there's got to be a presidential medal on the way, surely. Not with a shredded wheat contract. That's what normally happens with American athletes. It just has in the past. But wow, world champion, and what a way to do it. And as we said, the gift for her, that was she had a very accomplished rider out in front to act as a hair.
Yeah, so in an ideal world, you want a rider that is a bit slower than you, not slow enough that you catch them and have to go round them, but slow enough that you can get them in their sight. in your sights and sort of use that to your advantage, and that's what she had there in those closing laps. She could see Lisa Brennell just about, and she could gradually reel her in.
Wonderful. Another phenomenal marker has been set here in Berlin. This all bodes very well for a supreme Olympic competition, doesn't it, this World Championship?
It does. So I think in these really the last 2 seasons in track cycling, across the board, times have been tumbling down. There's been all sorts of development technically in terms of equipment, in terms of rider position on the bike, in terms of training. But even without all that, you just cannot deny the talent of the riders that are coming through across the board, male and female, sprint endurance, and Chloe Dygert is one of the biggest names in the world of cycling at the moment, men or women.
I agree. It's been a delight to call her home today. We're still in a bit of shock. Okay, regather yourselves, because we've got the none too small matter of what is bound to be an extremely dramatic men's omnium. There's world champion bands up for grabs, don't forget. It is Olympic year. We've had some very variable performances, not least Lassie Norman Hansen, who tumbled down the order after making a disastrous error in the elimination race. He got tagged too early. It's not just the men, it's the women as well.
Yeah, it happened yesterday to Jennifer Valenti of the USA. She was in 2nd place overall going into the elimination race, and then she was out 2nd, so scoring minimal points there pretty much, really affecting her overall standing. So unfortunately that happened to Lassie Norman Hansen for Denmark. In this event today, he is already a world champion and world record holder in the team pursuit, so not having a terrible week by any means. So it'll be interesting to see what he can do now. He's currently down in 9th position. At the top is Benjamin Thomas, who you've just seen for France with 112 points. Jan-Willem van Schip for Netherlands in 2nd place, 104. British interest, 5th place currently for Matt Walls, 86 points. So some work to do, but very much all still to play for.
Benjamin Thomas was a man under pressure when it came to the elimination race. He still leads, but he won the scratch, was runner-up in the tempo race behind Jan-Willem van Schip. And then we came to the eliminator, and he went reasonably far in that. And I think he was being bullied, and I'm not suggesting he pulled the ripcord and said, right, I'm out of here. Let's wait till the points race. But he's in charge at the moment. He's a man who's given to stealing the odd omnium as well. The trouble is now he's got a target on his back essentially. People are aware of his methods and the way that he could impose himself on getting himself a lap gain essentially. So let's see if he does it this time by. In terms of the standings for the men's omnium, Benjamin Thomas stands at the top on 112. Willem van Schip is on 104. Now those two notwithstanding it, then you've got a gaggle of riders who are quite close together. Roger Kluger of Germany, you're looking at him right now, very accomplished 6-day rider as well. So he's got the nous. He's going to use it here, I'm sure. He's on 94 points, so he's 10 behind 2nd place Jan van Schip. And of course, 18 points, no, 16 points behind Benjamin Thomas. So, I don't know. Let's wait and see. It is 18 points. I beg your pardon. Campbell Stewart of New Zealand, also in the frame on 92 points. Don't discount Matt Walls either. He's on 86. And you can rack up the points in this, Joe. They come thick and fast if you get up for the sprints.
Yeah, so strong sprinter, really good bunch race rider, Matt Walls, so he'll definitely be able to position himself well. I think the interesting thing in this race will be the riders looking to gain the laps. The likes of people like Cam Meyer, who we know is so strong at that. You know, could he rip this race to pieces and really leave bodies everywhere?
Will Lassie Norman make up? Will Viviani light up? Will Cameron Meyer start a wrecking ball? They all have to try and find themselves. Just seen Lassie Norman Hansen, looked absolutely livid. Cameron Meyer. Meanwhile, Jan-Willem van Schip gets ready down at the carpet. Meanwhile, up on the rail, you can see a few moments ago, you may have picked out as well. Matt Walls, let's hope he goes well. Belarus, of course, up at the line here with Shishkov. A good 6-day man as well, Prado of Mexico. You know, there's talent all over the track here, and it will be displayed to you in none too small order. That was Campbell Stewart, the Kiwi, the All Black down at the bottom. Now then, what can What can anyone do here? Is it possible to get away and steal a lap? Alliances will be formed possibly against Benjamin Thomas, but he is one of the most sprightly. He's somebody who can race through an intermediate sprint and continue on to take a lap. Sort of uses it as a launch pad on occasion. There are various strategies here, so many different ways to win this race, but this is your last chance. If you've messed up on the scratch, the tempo or the eliminator, like Lasse Norman Hansen, who sits in 9th place at the moment on 71 points, you need to make amends here. There is a way through to do it, but everyone else is thinking the same thing. That's your problem. So, point scale here. First home will get 40 points, a second is at 38. That's your point scale as you came into this race. But all of the points that you have garnered sit with you now, and they're added to on the intermediate sprints, of which we have 10.
Yeah, so I've just noticed at the back of the field there, Cameron Meyer glued to the wheel of Roger Kluger, so I'd say I'm looking already at them, and Ella Viviani there as well, so 3 big names, one of them in a good position overall, Roger Kluger, two of those riders, 2 of those big names, currently not really where you'd expect them to be, but the 3 of them are all closely packed there in a line.
They're all looking at each other, waiting for Benjamin Thomas to do something cheeky. I think Eli Viviani might well be a good bet. He might be allowed just a little bit of headroom, let's wait and see, to go off. Derek G of Canada is making a nuisance of himself up here. Walls just goes underneath him, as you can see from this onboard cam from João Matias of Portugal. Shishkov of Belarus will have a dig very, very early. I'm no doubt about it. Lasse Norman Hansen looks still angry with himself. He mustn't. Denmark have had a lot of success. They're allowed a hiccup now and again.
Yes, so world records for Denmark, 3 world records for Denmark. Over 3 rides in the men's team pursuit on day 1 and 2 of competition. So in fantastic form, and I think that just stunned everybody. Of all the records that we've seen in this championships, there's been many, that's the one that I think that was lowered by the most significant amount, down from a 3:48.0 to a 3:44, which is just absolutely insane, and that, it's really raised the bar of this event, which is one of the key events for many nations ahead of the Olympics. So that's given a lot of people a lot to think about. So for Denmark, already a brilliant championships, and I think it's fair to say that that is their focus as a team.
So possibly a bit of party fatigue, you might say, for Lasse Norman Hansen. I don't think so, but he certainly did have a little bit of brain fade in the elimination race, which has cost him dear, because the points he lost there, and he will have lost, to my mind anyway, about 35, 36 points, he's got to make them up now. And that's a big haul to try and get back. So what will he do, and when will he do it? That is how it stacks up right now in terms of your standings. Benjamin Thomas in 3rd place right now as Canada is picking up. Poland just making it a little bit of a nuisance of themselves. But tucked in right there is Benjamin Thomas. Volikakis picks up and goes around the outside. This is the first time I've seen him active, to be honest, not following somebody else. Maybe he's following Benjamin Thomas. But Thomas coming up and over the top here. He should get there. And that's a statement of intent, I think, with 5 points on the first sprint going to Benjamin Thomas. G picks up 5, 3, 2 and 1. So picks up the 3, 2 for Walls along the way. Benjamin Thomas means business.
Yeah, he does. So extending his lead there now, getting some points on the board early. We've got 10 sprints here. It's a 100-lap race, which is a long race, but when you compare that to the men's marathon, which is 200 laps, it is significantly shorter in that sense. So it's been a busy day of racing, but in these 10 sprints, that's 1/10 of it done, and he's got maximum points to his name.
Well, Lasse Norman thought about going, but just didn't have the right partnership, it seems. Certainly not one he was happy with. Fabio van den Bosch, by the way, is for Belgium. Thierry Schier for Switzerland, who seem busy. Shishkov of Belarus, used to saying his name as a hit and hoper, usually in a situation like this, but he goes up towards the rail and allows Cameron Meyer to come through. Took a tumble earlier on today.
Yeah, he did. So Cameron Meyer had a little fall in the elimination race, got back on, actually had his best position throughout this Omnium, so finished in 8th place, 14th in the scratch, 11th in the tempo race, but we know the points race is his speciality, so multiple world champion in the points race over previous years, and now today, I think a lot of people will be sort of looking to him and waiting for him to make his moves.
Benjamin Thomas has a look, and he's scanning the field here, and this is a good assembly out front. The United States have been a little bit quiet with Gavin Hoover. Can he start cleaning up? I've done it again, haven't I? Sorry about that. He goes up to the rail. You'd do it yourself if you're on the mic. I just grabbed it from you. 84 laps to go, so next intermediate coming up.
Yeah, second sprint now. That's Campbell Stewart just at the head of affairs for New Zealand. He's the defending champion, of course, having a little look round. And while he's looking round, I think that's Kazakhstan. They take the opportunity to go on the attack, followed closely by Ella Viviani, but they're not quite committing just yet. As they come around this time, it's going to be 2 laps to go to the sprint.
I think you've got to be very, very brave to go early, but we've seen it. Somebody's going to challenge, surely. Lassie Norman really wants to show what he's got here. And take the bell this time by. Van Schip wants the points. In the tuck as well is Benjamin Thomas. And he's got the line, Benjamin Thomas, at the moment. And he's writing the script, isn't he, as we stand. He'll take third on this one, but Lassie Norman Hansen starting to grab points. It looks like New Zealand just got up for that one with Stewart to take the last point available. Well, Lassie Norman, if he's going to try doing it on intermediates, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be quick enough to assemble for him. He has to find laps. That's a hard thing in this talent.
Yeah, so currently on 76 points, Lassie Norman Hansen, courtesy of that 5 points there as well. If he were to gain a lap and gain 20 points, he'd be on 96, which would put him in bronze medal position. So yeah, he needs some serious points to go on the board.
I think so. He's got Matt Walls on his tail at the moment. Is Switzerland and Kazakhstan. Belarus, never going to be that far away. Cam Myers comes to join the fun. This might be a fighting force. I don't think it'd be too much of a worry. The United States, Gavin Hoover is alive to it. He's not that far ahead points-wise. This is how it's stacked up at the line. Well, I think Benjamin Thomas was relegated there to just the 1 point. But nonetheless, he's still point-scoring time and time again. It's good to see how feisty this is battled for, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was Campbell Stewart there. Just nicking the point on the line as well. They've given Campbell Stewart the 1 point, and they've given Benjamin Thomas the 2 points there. So that's how they finalised that sprint.
No arguing then. On board with Prado still. And it's been a reasonably cagey affair. Thomas is doing a good job of controlling this, isn't he?
Yeah, it's a fast race, but no one's really made any significant moves yet. Probably slightly too early on in the race. Like I say, still looking to riders like Cam Meyer, like Roger Kluger, Ella Viviani as well, the Olympic champion. He's also got a lot of work to do. Currently sat in 10th position on 70 points.
Lassie Norman Hansen, but also there is our leader Benjamin Thomas of France running in 3rd place now. Viviani with a spectacular helmet, I must say. Looks very, very groovy. Very oriental colours, the gold and red. But it's Lassie Norman Hansen that goes for it again. I'm wondering if he's just going to try and show his credentials in all of the intermediates. He took 5 points last time by. He's going to grab 5 right now unless Viviani can stop him. He doesn't look minded to do. Oh, he does. Viviani just sails through to take the 5. Lassie Norman gets 3. Benjamin Thomas the 2. Matt Walls the last point. Matt Walls is going. Here is Viviani, but Benjamin Thomas is there as well. When do you start just tipping your hat at the likes of Benjamin Thomas and then start going cagey for minor medals? We'll see. Viviani still pushing on with Lassie Norman with him. And Thomas doesn't want to do the chase here. He's not going to be anyone's fool. He's relying on others who will also be thinking about a medal. Matt Walls is in there. Also Poland with Stanishevsky. He's got a lot of work to do, Stanishevsky. He's way down there on 57 points as it stands at the moment. And they circulate, but no real drive to get away at the moment.
No, Lassie Norman Hansen putting himself up there, getting some points on the board. Up to 6th position now. Still a lot of work to do. Matt Walls in 5th position. 10 points higher than Lassie Norman Hansen. So there's actually a big gap there between 5th and 6th. It's quite close between sort of 3rd to 5th place, but at the moment, like you say, Benjamin Thomas clearly in the lead on 121 points.
Well, there's a lot of following of wheels at the moment, but that will start to break down as a chance of medals. Gavin Hoover's in a decent place, you know. On 7th place. He's only 1 point behind Lassie Norman Hansen. the American needs to start assembling some intermediate points if he's going to start dreaming of a bronze. So it stacks up with the top 4. Campbell Stewart there by rights, just a point behind Roger Kluger, but look at the gap from Thomas and everybody else. Philip Manchip on 107, 121, 14 points ahead. That's great. Great work by the Frenchman, and he's gone cagey. Nobody else seems to have the legs or the will at the moment.
Yeah, there's been a few little moves here. Mexico tried to give it a go, but no real big killer attack just yet. I'm still waiting for it. I'm still keeping my eye on Cameron Meyer, Roger Kluger, those type of riders. But at the moment, you know, little flurries of people having a little sort of turn of pace, but no real, you know, we've not got the bodies everywhere that we've seen in other events this week.
No, it's got to happen, hasn't it? And right now, it's our American friend that we did warn you about, Gavin Hoover, has decided to go for a long one. Good for him. He's far enough down not to be a threat to the leaders, but he has got riders around him of significant talent that actually don't want to lose a spot to him. You go ahead of Lassie Norman Hansen with this next intermediate sprint if he holds out there, but Willem van Schip wants a piece of it. He wants to start building up intermediates, he's got to, but every time Benjamin Thomas comes up around the outside of him, there he is, gets into place. Campbell Stewart's still fighting hard. Good work, and Benjamin Thomas takes 5 again. Hoover, he's in supreme form, isn't he? Hoover takes 3 this time by, but also does now vault ahead of Lassie Norman Hansen. He's on 81 points, Hoover, moves into 6th place, Hansen drops to 7th.
Yeah, and that point for Campbell Stewart now putting him ahead of Roger Kluger and in bronze medal position.
Benjamin Thomas is playing a blinder here. He's not being anyone's fool to chase down the breaks. Others then are starting to engage, giving him a free ride. He comes up for the sprints and extends his lead.
Yeah, he does. He's riding really well, and he came into this race obviously as the leader, and he's such a strong sprinter, and the race is just playing into his hands. You know, we keep having these sprints. Just as I say that, Roger Kluger makes a move.
He does, dips down the track. Now then, the crowd are appreciating it, but this is a quick replay. Oh. Well, the oohs and the ahs tell you there's some bumps and bruises out there. 57 laps to go. We've had plenty of those. In fact, this track carries a lot of score marks, doesn't it, where the liquid wood has had to be applied. And they're all bunched together. There's always a danger of a touch of wheels at a moment like this. Thankfully, mostly salvable. But the line continues to be stretched here. And Viviani mostly at the front, but he's not nailing those sprints, is he?
No, he's not been sprinting so well. That was Cameron Meyer on the front there that Viviani was following, doing a little bit of a push on, sort of testing the water really, but really showing everyone's just that little bit too fresh for him to really make the attack stick at the moment.
You know, I think we thought that onboard cameras, as Lassie Norman Hansen does go for it, would be there would be a permanent option on the viewing, but it's actually quite uncommon. It's great to see, especially on the track actually with the movements, and especially in Hansings and Madisons and things like that. It's wonderful. This is a good little quintet that's off the front. America are chasing, and that's the gift to Benjamin Thomas. Lassie Norman Hansen's trying to shake a few here. 53 laps to go, I beg your pardon. And he wants to see who's with him. On his own, chasing down a duo up front. You've got to be careful with riders like Lassie Norman Hansen. Strange camera work there, but they dare not let him take a lap, because he'd be right back in the thick of it and gunning for the medal. Yeah,
no one willing to work with him at all. Every time he spins up the track, they're not coming through for a turn. And now we've got the bell for the sprint lap.
Guess what? Benjamin Thomas down the back straight, moves past Roger Kluger. Kluger's strong, but look at the strength around him as well. Seeding positions. Thomas takes it ahead of G, who's really woken up in this points race. Matt Walls, you know, on 89 points in 5th place, is in a good spot to actually start digging in. But he's got to start finding points, and quickly. Matt Walls on 89, by the way, for you at home. He's 7 behind Roger Kluger, whose points scored just then. Picked up 2, 7 behind him now. Matt Walls, if he wants a medal out today, he's got to start skirmishing with those who are on the nose.
Yeah, he has. Roger Kluger scoring 2 points in that previous sprint. Now, just edging ahead again of Campbell Stewart. So the two of them have been vying for that bronze medal. Currently, it's Roger Stewart in that bronze medal position with 96 points. Campbell Stewart now on 94.
What's your favourite lid?
That's a random question.
It is, but I've just been looking at the shape and form. I love the old Casco ones with no tail at all. I think they look the meatiest. Usually the sprinters have those.
Yeah, the advantage of that is that you could put your head down and not worry about having a sort of like a sail up in the air. Yeah, so that was the advantage there. But as mainly a pursuiter and team pursuiter, I was endeavouring not to put my head down and really sort of look where I was going and hold that aero position. But no, you see a lot of variation these days.
You do. The soft tail now that Matt Walls is wearing, slight extension but rounded at the back. You see some very hard lines as well. I guess everyone now wants to have the sea turtles that have been worn by the Danish pursuit team.
Yeah, they will. So in terms of aerodynamics, it'll be different on a bunch bike compared to in a low pro position, and you sort of have to take that into account. You know, in a bunch race, you know, it wasn't long ago everyone used to wear just sort of normal road helmets that are full of vents, and now most people are wearing some sort of variation of an aero helmet, but not quite as extreme as the ones that you get in the timed events. Yeah,
Chinese athletes wearing a standard road helmet by the looks of things. Eli Viviani's got a sort of an amalgam. There are a few longer tails here, but none of the strange witch's fingers that you used to see going down the back of some riders long ago. Yes, and in the wind, Benjamin Thomas has been locked in. He's boxed in at the moment. Too late for him to get involved, I think. May well pick up one sprint. He'll go for absolutely everything. Eli Viviani now on Van Chip's wheel. Is he going to come around him, or is he going to settle the second place again? Walls scores here, which means that Matt Walls is now only 3 points behind Campbell Stewart in 4th place. Roger Kluger, though, has settled himself in and given himself a little bit of clear blue water between himself and everybody else who's chasing. Of only 3 points, but Kluger's in 3rd place ahead of Campbell Stewart. And here is Walls. He's gone off. Who's going to join him? It looks like an Aussie-Brit alliance out front. What's the response from anybody else?
Yeah, Cameron Meyer is the best person you want to be with in terms of he's the strongest, but it's going to be really hard to hold his wheel. Come on, Matt Walls.
Yeah, well, if he can, this is a gift. Now then, look at Campbell go. This is fantastic. So, Aussies want something. The question is what? Cam Meyer exchanging nicely with Matt Walls. A loose alliance for now. So, it's Lassie Norman that's pushing on it into the gap as we speak. First time we've got the field strung out, and it's courtesy of the effort that's been put in by these two.
Yeah, it is. So this is a serious move. Everyone knows the credentials of Cameron Meyer, so everyone's going to take this seriously. Lassie Norman has been doing a lot of work there to bring it back. Now we've got a rider from Japan and Hong Kong as well. Roger Kluger showing further back in the field, so it's the likes of him that will stand to lose out of these two riders were able to gain a lap.
Matt Walls is on 91 points, so he'd be on 111. He'd move into bronze medal position ahead of Roger Kluger if he was to gain a lap. But he looks like he's struggling, I must admit. Shoulders are going, head starting to wobble as well. And Cam Meyer looks... Oh, they've got half a lap, you know, in reasonably short order, and the chase has been neutralised. Very few going for it. Canada seem to suddenly want to play the game with Derek G, who's been up for a couple of sprints here. France is Benjamin Thomas still loud and proud up front. They're going to go this lap, you know.
Yes, this is really exciting. So we're going to get the bell, I think, next time for the two leaders. So they may as well hang about and pick up those sprint points as well. They should get the bell now. Yeah, the 31 laps to go. So it's sprint next time. So now seeing a bit more movement from the bunch. Benjamin Thomas sensing the danger as well, but not getting any help from anyone else there. No,
he's not, which means that I'm placing the hands of these guys. They're going to push on through this intermediate sprint. Cam Meyer's going to take this. So 5 for him, 3 for Matt Walls. He had the right to take that. I think he's the strongest of the pairing. However, Matt Walls is going to take the biggest leap because of Cam Meyer's crash a little bit earlier on, I think. But nonetheless, Cam Meyer is on 11th place as we speak. Now, don't forget, they have to get back in. They've got a lap rider with them from Kazakhstan. Yeah. I think Maybell coming along for the free ride. Ukraine, I beg your pardon. There we are. Similar livery, but from this distance. But Cam Meyer still pushing on, and this is where they can really take advantage. Are they going to hang for another intermediate and just stay there?
I don't think they'll be hanging on purpose. I thought they were going to gain the lap after that sprint, but there was a real injection in pace, particularly from Benjamin Thomas, as they were sprinting full gas to the line there. So that, you know, ate into their lead, and we're now, less than half a lap to go. You need to look at the back of the field and what sort of they need to gain to get there. It's less than half a lap of work they need to do. The rider from Ukraine there, just sitting on, not contributing. He is a lap down. But now, big move from the Dutch and the New Zealand squads.
Yeah, Jan van Schip going for it for the Netherlands. The Kiwis with Campbell Stewart coming through as well. Now, they may make it on because the rest of the pack, it's not an easement at all. Maybe that's the exact word, actually. Here's your breakaway as it stands. I don't think the Ukraine, I think he was lapped, but I'll get that confirmation on that for you in a moment. That's why he's not exactly offering out any help, because otherwise it could be useful to him. So it's an interchange at the moment between Cam Meyer and indeed Matt Walls. There's 4 chasing, but the rest of the field is strung out. They only have to get onto the back of it.
Yes, there's 4 big names here, and the crowd going wild because German rider Roger Kluge is also in this group, and these are 4 real threats to the overall, and they've seen this threat of these 2 riders going across, and they want to try and get there as well. Yeah, well, Roger Kluge's got a big interest because he'll be relegated. Jan van Schip won't be, as Matt Walls will take a vault if he gets to 20 points. But they're going to get this next intermediate sprint, you know, and their partner in crime, the Ukrainian Voldemir, who is a couple of laps down, by the way, has now gone away. There we are. He's right at the bottom here, having ceded 40 points, being lapped twice. He's on minus 27. Well, I think that's probably what they would have referred to. I'm wondering if they're thinking that they could join these and form a quartet and maybe steal a lap. 19 to go, they're going to hang for another sprint. Well, if these 2 riders were to gain a lap, it would be Matt Walls that would vault into 2nd place overall. Benjamin Thomas would still be safe. He's on 133 points. So it really is Van Schip and Roger Kluge who will be the ones to stand to lose the most here if they do gain a lap. But well, they're taking a long time about it, but I think they're going to do it within the next couple of laps now. That is amazing. Now, I've seen riders get within 20 metres and then lose out as the pace changes. Their gift is that there's 7 laps till the next intermediate, and so Benjamin Thomas has been doing much of the chasing, and he doesn't have to do it. It's for those who are looking for a medal, and Gavin Hoover has decided that he's going to come and join the push. Benjamin Thomas can sit in. Are they going to make it? Will this count, this strand that they're just about to get to, as being a lap gain with riders now in groups all over the track? Yeah, so the commissaires need to decide what they see as the main body of the field. So here we can see them coming up behind the back of this group, but it's very, very strung out. But I think that is all together as one group now. But it's more defined, isn't it? They're just about to lap again the rider from the Ukraine. He needs to get off the track, to be honest. He may well get flagged or gated, as they say. Should go to the carpet and let them through. He does more or less. 4 laps to go. I think they might hang for it. Oh, it's pulled away from them. And look at this, it's all bunching up. They've sat up. They've sat up. If they get into this group, they'll be given a lap. That's a danger for everybody else. Goodness me, they're going to get in. Look at this. Yeah, while these riders are away, of course, no one can pick up maximum sprint points either, because they are hoovering them all up. So for other riders, they might be better off thinking, right, just gain the lap, and then we can all start going off again. Big cheer, and that's a huge jump, a huge vault. Now then, their problem is that Kluge is also trying to gain a lap here, but this field may well speed up with these intermediates to come as well. Oh, they can't decide on a fighting force. Van Schip wants to get back to silver. He's 2 points behind Matt Walls at the moment, and all of a sudden Benjamin Thomas joins the fun. This is great. Yeah, Benjamin Thomas already clearly ahead on 133 points, but really wanted to cement that lead and not leaving it in any doubt whatsoever. Now, with just 1 sprint to go, he is now on 138 points. So, Matt Walls is in the silver medal position. However, only 2 points behind him is Jan Willem van Schip. That's the big point. And the laps are running out right now for lap gains. And it may well be that we see these guys hang for the sprint. And Schip wants the 10.
Van Schip heads off, and the reason is he wants 10 points for the last sprint to secure the silver medal. Roger Kluge could do with helping him out, to be honest. That's where the final sprint will be decided. They're not going to take a lap, but they may well dictate this last sprint. Who's joining them for the fun? America and Gavin Hoover. He's on 82 points. He could get a top 5 if it works out well for him. Not quite sure if that's going to be the case. And in fact, it's Benjamin Thomas who is just... Do you know what? He's been so impressive. There's no taking it away from him. They may well gain a lap, this pair. The two principals for much of the day. They've got a lot of work to do, but this is a group of riders that they're going to bridge to that, quite frankly, have got very little interest remaining in the race.
Yeah, so Van Schip not even swinging up here to share the work with Benjamin Thomas. Benjamin Thomas along here for the ride, already clearly the leader, but not wanting to give anything away and just showing quite how strong he is.
Yep, indeed. Meanwhile, what's about the crumbs for the top table? They're going to get a lap gain here by getting to... This is the main body of the peloton, of the bunch, I should say, I beg your pardon. That's Lassie Norman Hansen. Must be wondering what might have been, I guess. And that is going to be a lap gain, and Van Schip goes back into the silver medal position. Matt Walls is in bronze. Benjamin Thomas on 158 points. Sails clear. He can basically just ride it home. He can start celebrating already. We've got an intermediate sprint to come, and it's going to be from this group that you're looking at right now. So let's see who gets it. Cam Meyer, if he gets 10 points, will put him on 100. It'll still be 4th place for him, I'm afraid. Hungary decide to have a bite, but I'm afraid it's not going to work out for them. This is a minor points for these. Well, they'll be making one on the final lap. 10 points up for grabs. It goes to Hungary. Canada take the 6 at the line with G. 2 for Shear, Stanishevsky, but we know the winner, Benjamin Thomas, and Matt Walsh has got himself a bronze medal, for goodness sake. Wow. Great work out there. Roger Kluge misses out, I'm afraid, for the German hosts of these World Championships, but Benjamin Thomas, absolutely brilliant. What a dominant performance.
Yeah, dominant's the word. He scored in so many sprints in that points race, and also right in the dying laps, gained the lap as well. You know, he saw a threat from Van Schip, even though had he gained that lap, he still wouldn't have overhauled the points total of Thomas of France. But, you know, he went there as well, gained another 20 points, finishing on over, I think, 158 points at the end there. So, what an incredible victory.
Average pace, 54.576 kilometres per hour. She wasn't hanging around. So, marvellous, absolutely marvellous. Benjamin Thomas, we salute you. That was a brilliant ride. Van Schip, likewise, gutsy for silver. And Matt Walls, in great company. I think he needs to send Christmas cards every year to Cameron Meyer, who helped him gain that lap. Cam Meyer, who took a tumble out there, did finish in 5th place, incidentally, on 90 points. Took a tumble earlier on today in the Eliminator and essentially compromised himself. Lassie Norman Hansen will be wondering, well, we won't have to wonder where it all went wrong. We know where it all went wrong. He messed up in the Eliminator, going out 2nd. Matt Walls gets a bronze, and I'm so pleased for him.
Yeah, first World Championship medal for Matt Walsh, 21 years old, from Oldham. Previously a European title in the elimination race back in 2018 in Glasgow, but first ever World Champs medal in Olympic year, in an Olympic event. You could see he was suffering in that race, but he dug in, and he dug it all that way to gain that lap. You know, took a heck of a long time to do it, but he did it, and now very well deserved bronze medal.
Dogged performance from Matt Walls. He took 2nd in the scratch race, by the way, behind Benjamin Thomas, who won here. So he bought the right to fight from the very beginning, kept it sensible, and indeed has got himself a medal. Benjamin Thomas, though, should we just give him the Olympic medal as well?
Ooh. It's a lot, like Amy Peter said, a lot can change before the Olympics, and you know, it's still very much all to play for. But I have to confess, that was a really dominant performance. But, you know, we barely spoke about Campbell Stewart, who was the defending champion, so he almost sort of clawed his way into the medal position, but ended up finishing in 5th place. Cameron Meyer, I do believe there's sort of more to see from him, because he is such a supreme points race rider. But today, Benjamin Thomas just had it all across the board, winning the scratch race, 2nd in the tempo race, 4th in the elimination race, and just extending his lead in this points race at the end.
Benjamin Thomas, 158 points. Banship, 135 with that late lap gain by them both. Matt Walter gained a lap out there with Cam Meyer, gets a bronze medal. Some disappointments, I think it's always the case. You get one discipline wrong in the Omnium and it bites you, doesn't it?
It does. You know, minor mistakes in a scratch race or elimination race can, you know, cost you ever so much. And, you know, unfortunately we saw that for Lassie Norman Hansen. But, you know, you can't take anything away from Benjamin Thomas. Really well-deserved world title.
Super stuff. And we race on tomorrow at the Worlds. We've loved it. Trust you have too. Don't forget, we will be back on your screens as these World Championships draw to a close. So the way the records are folding, it's not to be missed. Tomorrow, Kern-Brussels-Kern, 201 kilometres, and a whole lot more track cycling for you as well. We look forward to your company. It will be special. Every single day has been so. From me, Carlton Kirby, and from Joe Russell, we thank you for your company. We'll see you tomorrow.